Hello, friends. Very respected President, ICAI, CA Dr. Debashish Mitraji, very respected Chairman CMIB, Ranjit Kumar Agarwalji, Chairperson WMEC, Shri Priya Kumarji, various speakers, the Secretariat, the Coordinator, and all wonderful, beautiful, intelligent women participants who have enrolled for uh, campus placement program. This is the first ever campus placement program which we were able to conduct because of the support of CMIB and our honorable president, sir. So we had a thought process. See, campus placement program has been organized by CMIB at ICI since last various so many years, and why we should have a separate campus placement for women specific, because over there it is the same campus for all the members, but this is specifically there only and only because the members who have taken break, who have taken sabbatic, want to come back in the mainstream. The technology has changed a lot in last 5 years, and now if we want to come back, we should know what is going on. However, this is the domain in which we want that all our women aspirants should get back and get the job and come in the mainstream. And after COVID, we have also seen that this flexi working hours or work from home is really working well, and we have various so many companies who have enrolled. I will not come out with the data at present because it is there for our chairman and the president sir to share with all of you. So I wish you all the best, and this orientation is all of you. The structure of the orientation program is such that you are motivated, you come to know how to give interview, what are the work life, how the work life balance should be made. And if any query is there, please feel free to reach out to us. It is our endeavor to serve the best to the women fraternity of our institute. With this, once again, I welcome all of you. And now I request Sri Priya Kumar, Chairperson of CLCGC, to please share his words of wisdom and give opening remarks.
So thank you very, very much, CA Preeti Savla, to Dr. Debashish Mitra, a very exemplary president of the ICAI, CA Ranjit Kumar Agarwalji, CA Samir Madan, and to the Secretariat, I can see Rangaji and others I see on the screen. Here's a very, very hearty good afternoon to all of you. And on behalf of the Women Members Empowerment Committee, I'd like to extend a very, very warm and a very hearty welcome to all of you, especially the participants of this program. I must say that the CMIB and WMEC are privileged, delighted, and truly honored to host this first ever women placement program. It has a little story to it. We were reached out, many corporates reached out to us wanting to expand their diversity initiatives. And at the same time, there were many women who had taken a break and who wanted to get back to serving the country. And I think in our little act of working, we're actually contributing to nation building. So we thought of a plan on trying to connect women to the potential employers, and hence this initiative. I don't intend this to be flattering, but I must place on record my deepest appreciation to the president and the vice president. Normally, good initiatives at ICI get approved, but the kind of emotion that the approval comes with makes a huge difference. When I sort of mentioned about this to Debashishji, I don't know whether he remembers the phone call. He just said, "All right, Sri Priya, just go ahead." That was, and so it makes a huge difference to the way you actually connect to an event after that. And the vice president, when I was talking to him, I said, "Sir, this may not turn out to be very large. Maybe only 50 women will get placed." He said, "No problem. Many, many years ago, when Mr. C.A. Rahul Rai started the campus placement program, he said there were very few people, but it doesn't matter because these initiatives grow over the years." So, this was the second thought that I wanted to place. And the third is, of course, some statistics. I'm very, very happy to let you know that 81 organizations registered. We have 1,179 vacancies. We had 1,613 women who registered. And the number of candidates who have consented for the interviews stands at 968. I'm sure this placement program will go well, thanks to both the CMIB and the WMEC Secretariat. But what we want to do after this program is something different. While we're very happy for the women who found jobs, we'd like to target the remaining 600 who have either not consented or not got shortlisted. We want to go back and run a little survey to see what more we can do to make things happen for them. Why did they really not complete this cycle or consummate this cycle? So, and of course, my heartiest thanks to Ranjit Kumar Agarwalji, the CMIB team. They have an extremely robust platform on which we are running this program. And it's been a privilege and an honor to be associated with CMIB for this project. And I'm sure we're going to, and one more thing I must mention on record is the exemplary support we've received from the Secretariat. So a couple of women had forgotten to give their consent because of Diwali, etc. So whenever we got a mail, CMIB and WMAC were very, very quick to react to make sure that no one loses out because of a small technical or a procedural delay. With these few words, I'd like to hand the stage back to Preeti Savla, and thank you very, very much for being here today.
Thank you, Shri Priya Kumar, for your opening remarks. And today in the morning, Secretariat Mr. Rangaji has also given his approval and consented to open this consent form, which we have not given so far. So if any of you participants have not given the consent, please fill it up. So today again we have opened up, and if your friends or anyone who has not given, please extend, coordinate with them, and so that see this endeavor is there. So we want that maximum of you are getting employed. So that is why whole of these exercises. Now we have with us Sri Ranjit Kumar Agarwalji, who is the chairman of our committee for members in industry and business. And I request, and the support and the robust platform which they have is really, really remarkable. I request Ranjit Kumarji to please share his words of wisdom and give his welcome address.
Thank you very much, Preeti. Very respected the president of ICI, Dr. Debashish Mitra. Two very important lady of this Women Empowerment Committee, Sri Priya Kumar and Preeti Savla. We have the faculty, Samir Madan, they were in Calcutta recently, Asita Sa, and I can also see the Ranjana Tripathi, another faculty for this orientation program, and the officers, Ranganathanji and Salini and others. And all the leading ladies of our profession, welcome to all of you for this very, very first of its kind innovative orientation program for women only. And if you see the data, 20 years before, out of the total membership of ICI, only 8% women were there. And after 20 years, 28%, 20% jump in 20 years. So this number is phenomenal as far as women CA is concerned. And two very leading ladies, Sri Priya Kumar and Preeti, they wanted to somehow give a platform to the women chartered accountant to work from home, part-time or flexi-hour working. So on their initiative, we have decided to host this campus placement program under the leadership of our president and vice president, and because they have given the guidance and the go-ahead, and we will be able to execute this program. There is a small research also that after pandemic, McKinsey has come out with a report which says in an advanced country, total employability of workforce in accounting and consultancy, because in accountancy and consultancy, the moderate proximity to the physical proximity is required in workplace. So they are saying that 1/3 of this total employment is work from home in this advanced country. And India is also taking lead as our institute is taking this lead under the leadership of our president, vice president, sir. So that's why this campus placement for women to work from home, we are giving a platform, and we have seen a huge response as far as corporate house is concerned, because we used to do the campus for fresher and experienced CA. This is the first time we are doing for work from home, part-time or flexi hour as per the requirement of women chartered accountant. And you see the result also, we are not able to exceed the vacancy. Vacancy are 1,200 and the consent is less than 1,000. So still the demand for work from home is more as far as corporates are concerned. and we will be able to meet their requirement as far as ICAI is concerned under our ever leadership of Institute of Chartered Accountants India about Devashish Mitra, President sir. So with these words, I once again welcome all of you in this very innovative and first of kind initiation done by two leading ladies for all of you ladies. And I hope you will be recruited and you will have a great time in working from home. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Ranjit Bhai. And I will be failing in my duty if I don't recognize the efforts which have been put by Vice Chairman CMIB, CA Dr. Raj Chawla ji, who has not been present because he is also busy in some HR meeting for other campus interviews in abroad. And also our Honorable Vice President, sir, who is also busy in some other institute-related activities, but the efforts are seamless and the support given is tremendous. And with these words, let us move towards our President, sir, and I would share with all of you about our honorable President, sir, is that any activity, if we want any initiative to take up for the benefit of members or society at large, sir, if we go to sir or President, sir will only say one word and one sentence with 3 words, and that is, I have heard you. And the things are being done, and we remember the words, I heard you, and then the activity goes on with the institute, and that is how it is all about. And really, we have a really great time working with you, President, sir. And now I request you, sir, to please share your words, your thought process, and your leadership with all our women participants. Over to you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Vice Chairman of the Committee for Women's Empowerment, Preeti Savla, the Chairperson, Supriya Kumar, who also happens to be the Chairperson of CLCGC, Ranjit Agarwal, the Chairman of Committee for Members in Business and Industry, and to all the faculty members who are present here, the participants. A very good afternoon to all of you. Such a great pleasure on my part to address all of you on a new beginning. I think Supriya mentioned about Rahul Roy. You see, he has been from Calcutta, a great friend. And you see, when he started off with this campus, he also did not know what he was doing. And today, when we started off with this campus, I also don't know how far it will grow. But I know that at some point of time, you'll remember the Devashish Mitra's term, something gets started. So that is how it is. But let me tell you how proud I am of the two ladies and Ranjit Agarwal here, the kind of efforts that they put in. And many of you who are joining us may be a bit distanced from the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, the institute from which you had passed earlier, and the institute that you see today. Today, we have an institute which is the second largest accounting body in the world. You see, it's a huge monolith organization. We have 166 branches in India, but the most important is that the institute has become a global body. We are present in 77 cities, 45 countries of the world. We have 44 overseas chapters, 33 representative offices. Right? I get more requests to attend programs from overseas than from India now. That is the situation. So you see, the institute over a period of time have grown to be a huge global body. Now, many of you would be thinking that we are only relating ourselves to accounts or audit. Let me take these 3 people who are there on the screen, my council colleagues, and tell what do they do and how things have changed. Supriya Kumar. She, as I said, she chairs the Corporate Law and Corporate Governance Committee. Now, when Ministry of Corporate Affairs wants to develop their software for the LLP or the forms for uploading LLP details, or when they want to have a version 3 of their forms, they approach the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, which was not before. And a person like Supriya Kumar is there to guide the ministry to how to have these new forms done well, so that the difficulties that is faced by the members are minimized. And then, you see, when she does that, it is the ministry who says, that, you see, look, the institute is doing a very good job. So today, when somebody said that we are a partner in nation building, we are actually so. Because see, we are now helping the Ministry of Corporate Affairs develop the firms. And Supriya Kumar has her hands full trying to do so. Right? So see, that is the way we have changed. Joining hands with the government and working. And when I talk about joining hands with the government and working, I come to the next lady, Preeti Savla. Now, what has happened is this. The other day, the whole-time director of SEBI came to the institute in Bombay when we were having the, council meeting. Now, what we have done is, we have developed 16 social audit standards. Preeti Savla is the vice chairperson of the Sustainability Reporting Standards Board. Now, what does this do? And today, those of us who are hearing me, if the word sustainability does not, create a buzz in your ears, then you are a bit off track. Because what she's doing is, she's developing the social audit standards. We have set up our company, our Section 8 company, Indian Institute of Social Auditors. And that institute is going to be a party to the social stock exchange that SEBI is developing. So SEBI came back and told us, can you develop the social audit standards? And we said, yes, we put our hand up. Now, when you passed out, many of you did not hear about social audit standards. You did not hear about the Sustainability Reporting Standards Board, which the institute takes pride in being the leader. You did not hear of Supriya Kumar joining hands with the government of India and helping them develop firms. That is where, we have become different. Now, let me come to Ranjit Agarwal. Now, what he does, I don't know how many of you have seen this program, The Growth Gears, right? Excellent program where the best of the chartered accountants, they speak about their experiences. And he does that. Now, campus, thousands and thousands, they join the campus program. A small, flame that was lit by Rahul Roy has now become such a huge fire. It's become so huge today. And Ranjit Agarwal has this great, pleasure that he faces a situation where the demand far exceeds the supply. He is now also talking about having a program for all those chartered accountants who are below 40 and trying to do well. The other day, I met Mr. Adani, the great industrialist, because of the World Congress. And he was saying, why you all guys are only interested in being a CFO? Why can't you be the CEO of my company? And he said, it is very important that you come out of being a backroom boy and come out in the front. And I told him that, sir, we are already in the front. And we told him that this is the way we operate, the technology today. If you walk the corridors of the institute, you will find, artificial intelligence is a word which is used very frequently. Right? We are changing with the changing times, always evolving, always innovating. So this is the institute, this is the environment in which you step in. And we are so proud of all of you. Ranjit was saying 28% of our membership are ladies. 44% of our students are ladies. And they are doing so well. All the 3 lady council members, let me hold a brief for them. Supriya Kumar, Preeti Savla, Kemisha Sonit, we have 3 this time. They are doing so well and contributing for the well-being of the profession. And I have no doubt that you will do the same. Ensure that the flag of the institute and the flag of the profession and the flag of the nation is kept flying very high. And last request, the World Congress of Accountants, November 18, 19, 20, 21st. For many of us, at least, a bit of an old guy like me, it will be, at the last opportunity to see the World Congress. For many of you, you might get one more opportunity, I don't know. But I would like all of you to join the World Congress. This is the Olympics of accountants, once in 4 years. We already have more than 1,400 registrations from abroad, from more than 90 countries that have already joined us. We are closing registration on the 31st of December, right? In Mumbai, come and join and be a part of the celebration of the profession of accountancy. I don't want to take much more of your time except to wish you from the very core of my heart the very best in all your future endeavors. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, President Sir, for all your wishes. And I am sure the women participants over here will, even if they don't join in physical mode, they will definitely join on virtual mode in the World Congress, because a lot of activities on virtual mode is also planned. The networking is also planned on virtual mode. So definitely, and again, the time which is there and which the president sir said is very small. The activities, whether it is relating to HR or sustainability or company law, and there are more than 30 committees at the institute. The activities which are being done at the ICI under the leadership of sir is much more. The activities which have been newly rolled out are much more, and that has been the leadership and the way in which the things are done. It's a really remarkable, and thank you very much, sir, for taking out your time and addressing and blessing all of us. And it's on behalf of institute, we wish you all the best for all your interviews, and we wish that all of you will get occupied in the job or the placement in which for which you are looking for. We have more than 80 companies, we have more than 1600 vacancies which have registered, and more than 900 women participants. So I am sure that all of you will get the things what you aspire for. With this, we conclude our inaugural part. We have with us all the faculties, starting with Samir Madanji, Ranjana ji, Shalini, and followed by that we have mock interviews. We have shortlisted 3 candidates, and there are panel of 3 people who will be taking the interviews. So be prepared, and if you have any query, please reach out to us. My sincere thanks to Rangaji as well as Shanu and the entire office of CMIB and WMEC for organizing and supporting this activity. With these words, I conclude, and we'll take it further. I request Ashita Shah, the coordinator, to take it further. Thank you very much and wish you all the best.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Sripriya and Preeti, for nicely moderating. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Preeti Madam. Good afternoon to all the panelists, Sripriya Madam, Preeti Madam, and our speakers, Samir Sir and Ranjana Ma'am. I, CA Ashita Shah, extend a very warm convivial welcome on today's orientation program for placement of women CAs organized by Women Members Empowerment Committee. A woman with a voice is by definition a strong woman, but the search to find that voice can be remarkably difficult. Women are like tea bags. We don't know our strengths until we are in hot water. Feminism is not about making women stronger. Women are already strong. It's about changing the way the world perceives the strength. And so, to find the hidden potentials within all the beautiful ladies present here, WMEC has taken this initiative to conduct placement program for women chartered accountants for flexi time, part-time, or work from anywhere option. I am very sure at the end of this placement program, everyone will be benefited to the core. To begin with the orientation program, we have with us our first speaker for the day, CA Samir Madan. Samir is qualified chartered accountant, CPA, and a cost and works accountant from India, and currently heads a finance at Agilent Technologies, a US-listed life science and chemical analysis company. His areas of expertise lies in record to report, financial planning, and has worked in many countries as a CFO, is a big advocate of leveraging technology. He is also the County Denim Club partner, Group of 100 He for She champions globally, comprising leaders and luminaries from the business, corporate, and political domains, each leading a sector of influence and having their companies and institutions in support of gender parity and equality. Prior to 17 years with Agilent, he has worked with GE and PwC, Lovelock and Levis. Welcome, sir. I hand over the dais to you. All over to you, sir.
All right. Thanks, Ashita. I hope all of you can hear me.
Yes,
Great.
good, Samir.
All right. Let me just share my presentation. Hopefully you can see it. Yeah. Can you see the presentation?
Yes, yes.
All right. So welcome, my women colleagues. I'm glad to kind of share my journey and some tips on how to face the interview board. Thank you, Ashita, for the rather generous introduction, and thank you, ICI, for organizing this. I believe the future of India is bright because we now have work from home and technology. I always talk about 3 Ds as a country. The first one is democracy. I think we are a country where democracy really gives us big advantage. I remember about 20 years ago when I was with GE, my global CFO said, Samir, you go take care of China because the Chinese CFO always says yes. Those guys are not trained to say no. So the democracy which we have, sometimes it feels like a bottleneck, but according to me, that's a huge pillar of strength. The ability to say what comes to our mind, the ability to speak up, the ability to have an opinion and voice it. That's the first D. The second D is digitization. I think digitization is a game changer. And now you don't need necessarily to have a degree. Everything is available on the net. You can learn latest on how to take hedges, to how to fix your Tesla car, to fix your motorcycle, anything and everything on the net. And lastly, data. I think with data availability, the world has really become flat. I think India has some of the most reliable data networks at dirt cheap rates. With these 3 Ds, I think women can take advantage and work and kind of give service to all the corporates. Actually, even my company is hiring. You're more than welcome to go and have a look at our careers webpage. So I'll begin my presentation. I always start with a favorite quote that there is no secret about success. Every successful person or a leader has told you a story. So I think the question is not about knowing. The question is, how do we act on it? How do we make sure that we pick up stuff which we can do? Because what works for me may work for you, may not work for you. But you should know what works for others and then, find your own sweet spot. Okay, as in the introduction, I'm very proud that I'm also the director for the Denim Club. I'm the country partner. G100 is a global organization which is the top 100 leading women. But women can succeed only if we men are allies. And, I'm the G100 Denim Club partner for the country. We do a lot of seminars in India to encourage women to kind of make it more like a soft landing from them as they kind of pick up their careers after a certain break for whatever reasons, and make sure that they compete, head to head with their male counterparts. So the agenda today I have is I'll kind of present what are the new age financial skills which you need to have to be successful in a corporate. And I think these skills have changed significantly over the period of last few years, and they will keep changing. The next I have is a few tips on how to crack interviews. I've only worked for corporates. I've never taken a certificate of practice. Way back in '94 when I qualified, I was very clear I will not practice for whatever reasons. I may not want to share them here, but never held a certificate of practice. So some tips to crack the interviews. I have one slide on some tips on how to kind of succeed in the corporate world. I've spent all my life in the corporate world. We'll have a quick recap, and then also have some time for Q&A if you have any. Okay, so what are the new age skills which a finance person should have? It's something which is very, very important for you to be aware of. Today is the era of business disruption. Business models are being reinvented, and every 2 to 4 years, new business models come up. When I did my CA, CAPEX was the in thing. You want to set up a factory, you need to have huge capex. You want to buy ERP, there is capex. What is now, capex is almost like an outdated word. You have pay for use. That's a new era of business disruption. That's the reason why most companies have their own financing models, financing subsidiaries. So remember that businesses are getting disrupted. The average tenure of a Fortune 50 company now is only 13 years. Earlier, Fortune 50 were like cast in stone. Once you're in Fortune 50, you'll be there for at least 50 years. Now, most of you may be aware now, even Amazon for the last 2 quarters, which is a darling of the stock market, is into losses. And the ONDC, which the government of India under Nandan Nilekani is going to come up with, is going to be a big threat for the Amazons and the Flipkarts and the Snapdeals of the world. So remember, it's the era of business disruption. And earlier, there were 2 types of companies. You were big or small. Now there are 2 types of companies. You're either fast or you're slow. If you're slow, you won't survive, believe you me. The business disruption is so huge, you won't survive. As long as you're fast, even if you're big, you will survive. But if you're slow yet small, you will be kind of not in business. So remember that the business disruption is here to stay. So what are the new skills? Digital, real-time on-demand reporting, and the ability to generate actionable insights. Those days where we were only the accountants are no more valid. We finance folks are in the best position to have a bird's eye view of what's happening in the company, the country, and the economy. We understand the interlinkages upstream and downstream, right from how production used to happen and how sales happen, how SG&A expenses shape up. And one of the things I really love about the Institute of Chartered Accountants, I'm also a US CPA, that while doing articleship, we were taught about how to learn the business model. I remember in Lovelock and Lewis, where I articled from, some of my seniors used to tell me, don't go for factory audits, don't go for outstation audits. And some of them said, go, because that's where you learn, you stay in a factory, and you get enough time to study. Now, whenever I used to go and audit, for example, a cement factory, I could tell you how much of gypsum, how much of limestone, how much of coal ash goes into manufacture of the 50 kg cement bag. What is the standard cost? So we were able to understand the business and then understand the linkages, see how we do with the competition, how we can do better. So the financial professionals which we currently need in the corporate world, we don't need necessarily cutting edge accountants, because the ERP takes care of it. ERPs in today's world are so beautiful. You can actually project, you can't post a wrong journal entry. You can actually, try posting a journal entry and see how that will impact your trial balance, your balance sheet. So accounting skills are required, but no more necessarily the bedrock. What we want is to generate actionable insights to make sure that you have reporting tools which sit onto your ERP. For example, in Agilent, I can tell you from the first inquiry from a would-be, could-be customer who's never dealt with us, whether we will actually get the order. We are able to kind of do predictive analysis. So these new skills are a must. Just refine your digital skills. The next one, as I said earlier, is to kind of understand the business model, business flow, and how do you link it with the worldwide economic landscape. That's very, very critical. Till about maybe 2.5 years back, globalization was the mantra. Now hyper-nationalism is the mantra. From just-in-time inventories, now we have just-in-case. So I think the business model and the economic landscape has changed so much. Now you want a factory onshore, nearshore. Hyper-nationalism is now the new mantra. You look at how the currency is fluctuating. We are a US listed company and we have significant operations in China, India, Japan, Korea, Australia, France, Germany. But our dollar revenue is now going down, right? So it's very important for us to understand the economic landscape and make sure that we can be ahead of it, start planning. If we have to make some changes in the cost structure, if we have to redefine how we give incentives for the sales guys, how do we kind of pick up a sagging portfolio from a sales trending perspective, it's up to us, we finance people. One of the quotes which I use a lot is, a trend is your friend, catch it early. And no better than us finance folks to catch a trend of the economic cycle ending for our product line, to see whether discounts are going up, to make sure that we understand whether a new product is being required, what a product line is doing versus what the product line of a competitor is doing. So make sure that we understand the internal business flows, models, the competitive landscape. And I can't tell you more about the changing economic landscape. It can actually just lead you to close shop, especially if you're not properly hedged. So remember, this is what is required: the ability to communicate with your stakeholders more than ever before, whether it's internal, whether it's external, whether it's your shareholders, whether it's your employees, whether it's your vendor, whether it's your customer. The ability to communicate, sharpen your communication skills, softer skills. And communication skills necessarily doesn't mean good command over the language. It's a host of other aspects as well. Whatever language you're comfortable with, whatever is the language widely spoken, but make sure that you are timely, you're proactive, you're able to communicate well in advance. That's the critical thing. Emotional intelligence. I mean, in today's world, emotional intelligence is more important than your knowledge about the subject. That you can learn. If you were to join Agilent, I'll teach you everything. But emotional intelligence is something which you bring, and you have to continue to work on it day in and day out. Even if you join a company, not every day is going to be a fabulous day. We have to learn to deal with how the corporates work, what is the scenario. Some days are full of sun, some days are full of rain. So emotional intelligence is key. Another phrase which I use very often is, will is more important than skill. And will is an ingredient of emotional intelligence. Learn storytelling and be nimble. I think your ability to communicate, your ability to see what's happening around you globally is important, but you have to learn to tell a story. And how do you tell a story? You have to have the ability to convert numbers into a story, or a story into numbers. Both are equally important. When you're presenting to your board or your immediate boss, your CFO, your CEO, what have you, create a story, put some numbers, or put some numbers and then create a story, whichever way works in your company. But learn the art of storytelling. That's very, very important. Don't sell Excel sheets by email. Send a brief summary. Work on your ability to create a story about numbers. Lastly, the bread and butter: compliance, compliance, compliance. I can't emphasize this more, because in the era of business disruption, when the going is so tough and there is cutthroat competition, a lot of companies are prone to taking shortcuts. Right from Enron to Satyam to various banks, there are enough examples where we finance professionals could have done a better job. So remember, in today's world, your ethics, your compliance, your ability to create a brand of your company is dependent only if you're compliant. Compliance is everything. You should have a policy on ethics, on fraud, but also on social media, because your brand can get demolished immediately. So this is basically a brief snapshot of what I feel are the new skills which finance professionals also need, apart from their technical accounting skills. And hopefully all my women colleagues who've not been working for the last few years, and even if you're working and coming up for this campus interview program, just be aware, this is a set of skills which are required by corporates. So be aware. Next, I have 2 slides on how to crack interviews. One of the things which is very, very important is your ability to tell the interviewer something about yourself. You need to keep it short and crisp. In a 45-minute interview, the interviewer will probably have 2 cuts of 20 minutes each, where you can make it or break it. And one of the things which will help you make it is when you introduce yourself and you kind of make the other person feel excited about your candidature. So script it well and storyfy it. It's very, very important, and highlight the relevant strengths and your weaknesses or areas of development, but keep it short and crisp. Don't go round and round in circles. It's very important that you rehearse it. You have a thought process of how you introduce yourself. What is it that you will bring to the table for them? Next one, they may ask you a question, why this company? Even if they don't ask you, somewhere in the interview process, tell them why you want to work for that company. And for that, you'll have to do your own research and go prepared. Make sure that you look at the financials, you look at its competition, you look at the key ratios, especially cash flow, because that's what is important in the upcoming recession. So make sure that you've done research on that company. Even if you're not asked this question, speak it up, speak out on that somewhere in the interview. I think that'll catch the attention of the interviewer. Prepare a slide preferably, or if you're not preparing a slide, make sure that you do your own research and come up with a 30, 90, and 180-day plan. Again, somewhere in the interview process, bring that up. It shows that you've come well prepared, that you are very energized, you want to add value. And for that, again, you'll have to do some research about how the company is doing and how the competition is doing, how the industry is doing. Next one, be ready with your real SWOT. And more importantly, how you handled failure and ambiguity. For you to kind of make sure that you are appearing as genuine, if you were to share what you learned from a failure or something which you could have done better, or how you handled ambiguity, will be very well appreciated, and you will get a lot of brownie points. So when you share your SWOT, which is your strength, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats, somewhere in the interview, make sure that you also highlight a few examples, maybe one or two, of how you handled ambiguity. You kind of came up with an innovative solution. I think that will help you create a positive impact. What next? Another very, very important point. Understand the difference between livelihood and career. Many stages of our life, we have to take a back seat and concentrate on other responsibilities, whether it's families, whether it's hobby or whatever. I normally divide an average lifespan in a company of 36 years, that's your career, working life, into 3 slots of 12 years each. In one slot of 12 years, you'll have a blast. Your career will go really, really upwards. In one slot of 12 years, whether in one slot or 2 slots of 6 years or 3 slots of 4 years, you will have a downturn. Believe you me, everybody will have a downside. And you'll have a slot of 12 years where the career will be average. By the time you retire, you will reach where you deserve to reach. So the point I'm trying to make is, remember that a career is a long-term marathon. And you need to understand that at this point of time, are you looking at just livelihood, which means to cover your expenses, to pay for your hobbies, to take care of your family, or are you really wanting to put in extra effort and be like a rocket and launch a career? Many people, and especially youngsters these days, don't realize that they become CAs or MBAs or whatever else, and they want to have the best of the job. They're very choosy. They don't want to work hard. So remember that livelihood and career are 2 different things, and not necessarily you'll have the best of your careers all the time. When you practice relaxation, you need to understand that you have to have enough reserve in your fuel tank to survive 36 years in a career. Not sure whether many other people would tell you this, but this is my learning. This is how I have survived. It's been now 28 years I've been a CA. So I thought I'll share my wisdom with you. And the next 2 points, there's another one on this slide, and the next 2 points on the next slide. It's an era of specialization. Remember that. I think when you go in for an interview, chances are they're looking at you for either, let's say, expertise in treasury or record to report or financial planning or analysis, maybe accounts payable, quote to cash, the various buzzwords. It's good that you specialize in one or two. You keep adding to it depending on how the accounting landscape is shaping up, how the economic landscape is shaping up. Frankly, now accounts payable, accounts receivable is no more required. In my company, there is no need for accounts payable folks. Vendor chooses the purchase order, which I've given him. He uploads the invoice onto my AP system. He can see where it's stuck for approval, who has to approve it, and if it gets approved, when it'll get picked up for the payment run. It's completely end-to-end automated, digitized. There is no manual intervention. I can tell you 28 years ago, we had accounts payable clerks, people who used to do banking. I don't even have to kind of interface with the bank. My ERP does that. We have a approval matrix, and only up to a certain level, there is an approval required. It rarely comes to me for approval. So it's an era of specialization. Just make sure that you have done your homework. And if you haven't, be sure that, for your next interview, you do that. Identify one or two areas where you will do research on YouTube or various other online courses and be prepared. The next slide has two very, very important things, especially for women. These 2 points are specifically for women. There is something called imposter syndrome, and this term was coined by two American psychologists, Pauline and Suzanne. What this is that somehow women tend to judge their performance, with a negative landscape than men. And please don't do that. I can tell you that I have enough women in my team. I have almost about 700 finance folks working for me. And we do finance and accounts, not just for the India entity, but the worldwide entities for Agilent. So the way we are set up is we have one huge backroom entity, which has finance and accounts, order management, R&D, IT. And then, of course, we have one sales entity where we sell the products which Agilent manufactures. So we manufacture products to test the composition of any solid, gas, or liquid in the world. So every pharma company, every petrochemical company, every food company, Olympics, so we can pull a strand of a hair and tell you when you last had alcohol, if you ever had drugs. We can tell you the composition of petrol. We can tell you the composition of Maggi or chicken or paneer or whatever else. So we have a huge R&D facility, which we have enough expats who come and customize their machines. But what I've seen is when I work with women, they're very, very diligent in terms of planning their day. They're able to multitask. They're able to be very, very focused. They don't waste time. They are able to do a job much quicker than when their male colleagues can. So please don't get into this imposter syndrome where you get a feeling that you don't belong to the corporate world, or there is it's all in your mind. I think India is a new India. Whether it's sports, whether it's female literacy, things are beginning to look up. So go from a position of strength, go positive. There are enough male allies in the corporate world. Please don't get into this imposter syndrome. The next one, ask questions. When you ask questions in the interview, in all probability, the interviewer will ask you to, or give you an opportunity to ask questions. Please go prepared with some questions. It shows that you're interested in the job. It gives you an opportunity, like in the previous slide, I told you that it will just give you an opportunity to learn, to also tell them that you've done a lot of homework and you're really wanting to kind of add value to the company. So it just gives a good feeling. So it's important that you go very well prepared, but then just preparation won't help. You need to be able to convert your intent into something which the interviewer recognizes and acknowledges and gives you that offer letter which you want. So these were my tips on how to crack interviews. I have just 3 quick slides on how you were to be successful in a company, if you were to join that company, learn the culture of the company where you get selected. It's very important for you to realize that every company, every household, every country has its own culture, and we have to adjust to that culture and slowly change it. Don't go there trying to change the world, boil the ocean, or whatever. But understand the subtle difference between policies and politics. Nothing different. I mean, that's what happens at home. When you are a child, you have to understand how you deal with your siblings, your parents, your neighbors, your cousins. And I think everything is interconnected. So learn the culture and adjust to it slowly, but don't ever compromise on your professional goals and, more importantly, ethics. In today's world, every company is ethical. Even Indian Lala companies, or so-called Lala companies, have ethics hotline. You can write to SEBI, you can write to the Institute of Chartered Accountants, but learn the culture and then adjust to it and slowly start changing it. Next step is to identify a mentor. I can't emphasize on this that seeking out a mentor in a company which you join will be of real good uh, you know impetus and help to you. Try and identify a mentor outside of finance. We finance don't have coffee with finance folks. My normally, I go and talk to the sourcing guy, IT guy, HR, sales. Don't be inward looking. We finance folks generally feel more comfortable with finance people. Don't do that. Don't do that. The other thing I say is the IT and finance are two sides of the same coin. And in 20 years from now, you'll either need a finance guy or you'll need an IT guy. So the IT guy can easily learn finance. Now, are we finance folks able to learn IT? I'm very thankful and grateful that I grew up at a time where, when I was doing articleship, we still had manual ledgers and the digitization or ERPs had started. We had those formal physical copy journal vouchers being entered into those mainframes. Even we didn't have ERPs, and used to have the stamped that it's been digitally entered, that checked by, and stuff like that. So I understand the IT world very well. I mean, I'm a pretty good expert on both Oracle and SAP. I can implement it, and I also am a very good expert on all these reporting platforms like S4 HANA. Budgeting, like for FY23, I can tell you for Agilent, what we'll do is even the budgeting for every country from an order perspective, what we will have as sales targets. The first pass is going to come from the system. What I've devised is that based on historical trends, say, for example, in India, if the Indian economy grew by X%, the healthcare sector grew by X%, how much did Agilent in India grow by? I will take that multiple for the last 5 years and throw the first pass FY23 target from the system so that the sales guy has the opportunity to take it down. That's what sales guys do. And that's why, it's always fun to kind of have interaction with the sales guys. Normally they win, which is okay. But at least there is a basic baseline from where we start. So even something as complicated as setting targets for a company, for a listed company, we've been able to digitize it based on logic, on the correlation and the linkage between the past historical growth trends with the trends of growth in the GDP of that sector, of a new product lines. So make sure that you identify a mentor, preferably not from finance. And lastly, I think I've said this earlier, Will, is more important, the skill. Leaders, and even in your interview session, the interviewer will look at people who are positive and want to make an impact. I can train you on skills, not on this. And believe you me, somewhere I get a feeling that women tend to be negative. Don't get into that. Cribbing, is not something which will help you. Negative energies will not help you, and it'll dampen the spirits of people around you. Be an enthusiast and create a lively environment. I've shared with you that my experience of working with women has been very, very positive in today's world where we have task-based employment in an era of specialization, in an era where all you need is a high-speed data connection, which we get at very cheap rates in our country, and a a desktop or a laptop. In fact, we don't even need VPNs. In my company, I don't even necessarily need to have a company given laptop. From any desktop, I can get you connected through a virtual thin client onto my network. You'll see two Windows screens, and you could be sitting in Mauritius, Maldives, and Amritsar, which is my hometown, or in whichever part of the world, as long as you have good high-speed data connectivity and any PC, you can get connected. And as long as you're skilled, I have employment for you. It may not be 8 hours a day, it could be 2 hours a day, 3 hours a day, task-based. So the future is very bright. Go positive, work on your will, of course, skill as well, because there are specialization, and be positive. So we'll do a quick recap, and then maybe we can take a question or two, time permitting, I don't know. So big picture thinking, I talked about it, that you have to be, have the ability to see the bird's eye view. Don't just get stuck with the accounting. Think big and make sure that you understand the interlinkages. Be a tech smart, IT and finance, the same side, or two sides of the same coin. Unless you know technology, you can't go too much too far. And again, I'll pause here and tell you that if you're not a tech smart, it's okay. Start learning. Do some courses. Spend some money on your learning. Even if you can't spend money, there are many free courses available on LinkedIn, on various other websites. Start learning. Don't be afraid. In today's world, what you learn today will not be valid tomorrow. The biggest thing is to learn, unlearn, and relearn. It's very important to unlearn and relearn. And be a lifelong learner. Without technology, you'll not be able to survive. If you are not a tech smart right now, don't worry. But action and start learning technology. Global grasp, I think, I've highlighted this enough, that unless you understand the global interlinkages, you will not survive. I've worked in almost every major country. I was fortunate enough to kind of be part of PricewaterhouseCoopers, had an international assignment. In fact, they sponsored me to go and do my US CPA way back in '95. I didn't have the money to go to the US and do my CPA in those days. But the global grasp is still important. And that's where it's, will give you a head start to change the strategy in the geography where you operate. I think I talked about from just-in-time inventory to just-in-case. Only those who had inventory could sell during COVID. And now, with the supply chains getting disrupted, last mile delivery, shipping and handling becoming more and more difficult. So maybe having a near-shore factory is more advantageous with fuel prices and shipping being costly. So global grasp is a must for you to be able to see how that impacts in the geography of the country where you operate. The next one, collaborate and influence. I think I talked about in my previous slides, whether it's communication, whether it's storytelling, whether it's having coffee with IT folks and HR folks and supply chain folks and sales folks. That's where you get loads of information, and then you can influence your board, your boss, your investors, the institute, about what's happening all around you. Just don't look inward. The key is to be able to collaborate and influence. I think I'm the best sales guy for the company. The watertight division between a sales guy, a finance guy, HR guy, IT guy is getting broken, and we're doing each other's job. I think unless and until I am able to add value and people see some kind of ability to learn from me, why would they join Agilent? For that, I need to learn. So I'm also a HR guy, I'm also an IT guy, I'm also a sales guy. I anyway love my business. I accompany my sales guy when they go and meet key pharma companies, key petrochemical companies, not only just in India, but worldwide. So collaborate and influence. Emotional insight, I think I've talked about it. Whatever I tell you is that your ability to be able to handle adversities, your ability to handle periods in your career where you will not do well, and believe me, they will come. If anybody says that they've not had a downside in their career, he or she is lying. In today's world, it is not just ladders, but also lattices in your career. And life spares nobody. There will be phases where you'll not be able to concentrate on your career. So that's the time when you only want, some kind of money to kind of make sure that your house is running and your hobbies are being funded. So remember that emotional insight is very, very important, especially in today's world, where somehow we are more bothered about the virtual world. So work on your emotional quotient, integrity. I've talked about it, that it's very, very important that as finance professionals, we are full of integrity. We lead by example. We don't do hanky-panky. One of the things which helps me is if I feel there is something hanky-panky, I tell my travel claims checking team to go and check the travel claims. I look at all the purchase order which a particular guy or his team issued to 5-star hotels, 7-star hotels, all their airfare. So integrity is something which we own, we breathe, and we finance people have the touch and feel to be able to find out where is a rotten rat. Do it upfront, because the company where you work for, its brand has a value only if you are full of integrity, and we are the gatekeepers of integrity. Lastly, ESG, which is a buzzword, but is also something which is very, very important. Unless we give back to society, we will be kicked out of business. The new generation doesn't want to work for a company which is ESG compliant. Our responsibility is a lot wider. We're not just there to make money, but also to give back to society. Companies which are doing a lot more from an ESG perspective get better rates when they borrow money. There is a separate stock exchange where these scripts would be traded. You get carbon credits and so many other things. So as a finance head or as a finance professional, lead the change. Keep telling your board that we have a wider responsibility. But for that, you need to be in business. For that, you need to be nimble. You need to think fast. Even if you have to fail fast. Come back with a solution and make sure how your business is doing. You compare it with your competition and the environment, and you tell your board upfront if we have to change the business model, if a particular product line is close to the end of life. I can't emphasize more on this. The numbers will tell you when that product line is coming towards its end. Make sure that you catch that trend and you are able to kind of tell that to your production folks, tell your R&D folks to come up with a new product. So that's all I had, from a slide deck perspective. I normally end with a cartoon and making sense of the economic conundrum. The economic modeling of our economic model suggests we need to remodel. So learn, unlearn, relearn. Things are changing so fast. Don't get afraid. Don't get bothered. Don't get overly intimidated. Relax. You are in control. We will get there. And I wish you all the best. I don't know whether, Ashita, we have time for any Q&A, but I hope you found my presentation useful. Look me up on LinkedIn. Check the Agilent Careers webpage. All the very best. You will succeed. Have belief, have faith. All the best. So, Akshata, if you have time for questions, I will be more than happy to take a few.
Do we have any questions? There is a beginning in an end. You can't reclaim what you had, but you can lock it up behind you. After this session, we all will agree that Sir has lifted our spirits to a great heights, and this will certainly add flavor to our professional life. Sir, kindly accept our gratitude. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you. All the best. Take care.
Believe good things will happen, and they will with this vision. We have our next session on corporate expectations from chartered accountants by Ms. Deepika Mahajan. A passionate human resource professional with a strong background in talent acquisition, Ms. Deepika Mahajan is head talent acquisition and employer branding with IDFC First Bank. She has a experience of developing resourcing strategy and channels for pan-India locals. She has also worked with head resourcing and talent management with Capital First Limited and also been Vice President Human Resources with Motilal Oswal Human Resources. With this brief introduction, I welcome Deepika ma'am. Deepika ma'am, over to you.
Hello, good evening, everybody. Can you hear me? Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Excellent. Okay. So firstly, thank you so much for giving me an opportunity to engage with so many budding chartered accountants. It's really a privilege for me that I have the forum where I can touch base with so many young minds. So we're going to try and make this session as interactive as we can. And I'd love to hear any comments or questions from the audience. So let me first share with you some of my initial thoughts. And I'd love to hear, as I said, I'd love to hear questions from you along the way. So feel free to raise your hand and interrupt me if required. Also request you to turn on the camera if you can. It's always nice to see another face on the screen. It's not so nice to see my own face alone. Would it be possible for the students to please turn on the camera?
No, ma'am, it's not possible.
Oh, why so? Okay, that's fine. Wherever they are, they can turn it on. So I have been in the business of, I'm a master's in economics myself. And of course, I also hold a master's degree in English literature. And I, of course, did my economics honors from University of Delhi long back. I have been working in the financial services sector for more than 18 years now. And my role has primarily been to hire talent for whichever organization I've worked for. So I'm currently leading talent acquisition for the IDFC First Bank, and I've been with the with the same management for more than 10 years now. I joined them in 2012, and of course we are now in 2022. So I'm one of those rare species of professionals who choose to be very loyal to the organization and wait it out to draw the best of learning that I can from the opportunities or work that is given to me. We have been hiring people very regularly from the CA campus for the last 7 to 8 years. And I have, of course, gone to your venue at Jaipur. I have, of course, seen your chapter in Delhi and in Mumbai, and interacted with some of the chartered accountants myself, been through the interview process and selection process. And it's always what I really enjoy is seeing that how we get to see people from such a wide variety of backgrounds. People come from, very small households to very big households, a lot of people from middle class whose aspiration is to make it big basis the examination, the CA examination that all of you are aiming to clear. This examination, I think, becomes the turning point in your life. Clearing this exam becomes the key objective towards which all of you are working. Result of which what happens is that very often some of you forget to live life in all its dimensions. Clearing the exam, ensuring that you are putting in the regular number of hours for the exam is important, but it cannot happen at the cost of living our lives as human beings. In the CA campus, I would very innocently ask this question. So what are your hobbies? And most CAs would answer to say, I don't have any hobbies. Any free time that I have, I spend it studying for the CA exam. And that kind of a response always leaves me a little speechless, because whatever said and done, there is life beyond the CA exam, and you must remember to live it to the fullest. When we talk about some of the expectations, the topic given to me today is, what is the expectation of corporates from budding chartered accountants? Chartered accountants are in great demand in India currently. I think they're currently about 1.5 lakh qualified professionals. We are still 50,000 short of the mark that we need. And of course, there are so many global companies that are entering India now. And chartered accountants are required not only to have knowledge of finance and accounting, which is related to India, but also are now required to provide support to so many foreign companies, and thus have an understanding of the laws of foreign countries. So suddenly, from a very small pool, the number has grown to the demand for chartered accountants has grown in a very big way from the industry. Now, as chartered accountants graduate and join the industry, what are some of the things that as an industry professional, you may want to keep in mind as you start your career? Because the role that you play in the Indian industry today is a very critical role. Governance, reporting, compliance reporting, and ensuring that companies maintain clean books of account are critical to the growth of the Indian economy. We know some of the biggest names on the global platform have been found wanting, whether it was Enron, whether it was some of the biggest names on the Wall Street have been found wanting basis their governance practices. One of the things that has stood out for India is the presence of a very strong regulatory environment. The RBI plays a very critical role in maintaining the health of the BFSI industry in our country. Result of the the high level of benchmarks of compliance that have been laid down by the regulatory authorities, India has been we've not suffered the kind of shock or breakdown that some of the other countries have, like in the year 2008, where you had Lehman Brothers collapse on the Wall Street, and that triggered a global recession worldwide, which the world took about 2 to 3 years to come out of. Even whether it was 2008, whether it is even during the pandemic, India, because of the high governance and financial controls that we have in place, and thanks to chartered accountant professionals like you, has been relatively cushioned from such unruly shocks. So as budding professionals, when you go into a company, whether it's one of the biggest things or one of the biggest roles that you will play is in ensuring that the company maintains good audit and governance practices, and that all reporting that happens on behalf of the organization is clean and ethical. And as chartered accountants, you play a very, very critical role in ensuring that the health of the Indian economy is green, and we are respected world over for our governance practices. I'm sure you've heard of Mr. Raghuram Rajan, the ex-governor of RBI, who now, of course, is a professor in Columbia, and a very well-respected, our RBI governors have always been very well-respected figures globally primarily because of the kind of practices that we follow in India. And as chartered accountants, one of the first things that you do for any corporate that you join is to ensure that they follow all the guidelines and regulatory norms that the regulating authority requires them to follow. So that's point number one as far as professionals are concerned. The other very important thing that chartered accountants do is they bring with them great focus on the job to be done. As I said, when you speak to professionals, they would talk about during the interview, how have you been spending your time? What have you been doing? Chartered accountants are extremely focused on ensuring that if they have set themselves an objective of clearing the exam, they will make sure that it is done at whatever cost. And that is very clear focus, that I have one single point objective. I'm going to ensure that I clear this exam and qualify and have two alphabets, CA or chartered accountant, prefixed to my name. And that's a privilege that all chartered accountants have. So as a professional, when you come in, you bring in with you an air of dedication. You bring in with you an air of great focus, which can change the ways of working of the team that you're a part of, because you have been so focused on ensuring that you clear the exam and follow, or you've been through all the modules, etc. This kind of clarity of purpose, this kind of focus can add great value to a team that you're a part of. So I would very strongly urge you to hold on to that clarity of purpose and focus that you have had through your student years as a work professional also. Chartered accountants bring with them understanding of financial figures, basic concepts, and companies expect that all the accountants that come in would be able to implement the conceptual learning that they have into real life, in real business environment. So I would want you to hold on to all the basics that you have learned, whether it's P&L ratio or basics of depreciation, how do you value goodwill, etc. These are very simple things for you as an accountant, but carry great value when the annual report or the balance sheet for the company is being drawn in. You can add great value by sharing information with shareholders and management that is accurate and simple for everybody to understand. So it's important that your conceptual learning is put into actual day-to-day business work also. That's one. The second part is also about, while we are very strong on concepts, we are very strong on academic learning, what is also very important is that our ability to influence and to build relations with people around us in teams needs to be very strong. One of the places where I feel chartered accountants have a little bit of a back foot compared to perhaps if I would talk to a student from an MBA school, is about the ability to present yourself effectively. Many times, CAs are not comfortable speaking fluently, are not able to comment on global happenings with ease. As a chartered accountant, while you're learning concepts of finance and accounting, it is also very important that you learn to present yourself and your thoughts in an effective way. So ability to communicate, you must develop good communication skills. You must develop very good interpersonal skills. When I talk about interpersonal skills, means you must be able to present yourself in a manner that is effective, and share your thoughts in a systematic and logical way with people around you. Also, as you grow in your, as you grow within organizations, what is very, very important for you is also to develop some amount of managerial expertise. Because as we grow in seniority, our job is always about managing others or managing teams. Chartered accountants, in order to be successful, must be very good managers of men. You must be able to understand the dynamics within your team that you're a part of. You must understand what is it that could be a motivator for any member of the team that you're. So there are different motivators for each member. There are those who are very motivated by learning. There are those who are very motivated by money. There are those who are very motivated by just good words or appreciation. If their work is appreciated, it gives them a very high degree of motivation. As a team manager, it is very important for you to be able to engage with other members of your teams effectively, and also have an understanding of what could be motivating one member versus another. As chartered accountants, the expectation also would be that whichever team you're a part of, you would be a good team player and you would make an effort to engage with other members of the team. Very often, because you have been spending so many hours studying alone, you may lose out on social skills of being able to break ice with a complete stranger by making some kind of a conversation, etc. If you're looking at being successful in the corporate environment, you will have to be a good team player. There are no shortcuts. Lone nerds are not successful. A person who is able to carry the team along with him would be very, very successful. So it's very important that as CAs, you develop the capability to be an excellent team player, get to know other members of your team, make sure that there are times you do have a lunch or a tea with your other team members, because lots of basis of professional relations is the kind of informal, casual interactions that you may have over a cup of coffee or a water cooler kind of conversation. So make sure that you engage with team members, make sure you develop one-to-one relationships with other members of the team. And these relationships will be very useful to you at workplace and building good professional relationships also. The other tip that I would like to give you is about managing your time and work effectively. As a corporate, we work from say 9:30 to 6 p.m. or 6:30 are the usual working hours. It is very important that we manage our time and our work effectively and ensure that we are able to deliver on tasks within deadlines which are allocated and yet maintain a healthy work-life balance. You can do so if you manage your calendar well, if you ensure that your work with the deadlines is well planned, you're not leaving everything for the last minute. And if there is an important assignment coming up, you will ensure that you have baked in at least a bit of buffer time to ensure that even if there is a last minute course correction required, you will be able to deliver on the task. And of course, in today's world, there is no job, whether it's accounts, finance, human resource, sales, there are no jobs that we can do without having a high degree of technology orientation. So whether it's blockchain, whether it's the basics of coding, whether it's learning, basic data analysis skills of R or SAS, etc. I would very strongly recommend that each one of you keep your technology learning quotient alive through your work life. So as a chartered accountant, you understand accounting and finance, but it's also very important that you understand some of the basic technology tools that are available to us to ensure that we are able to do the task well. So nowadays there are lots of online courses available on Coursera and Udemy and various self-learning sites, where for a small fee and investment of a few hours, you can pick some of the best learnings globally, not limited to your country alone. So whether you're looking at doing a course on sustainability, whether you're looking at doing a course on Python coding, whether it is a course on managerial skills, everything is available to you now online. So please make sure that you equip yourself with the latest learning material at workplace. Last but not the least, I would like to say this, that for example, at our bank, we hire chartered accountants not only in the finance and audit functions. We hire chartered accountants in our wholesale banking teams. We hire chartered accountants in our credit underwriting team. We hire chartered accountants in our enterprise risk team. And of course, we have lots of people that we hire in finance and audit functions. So I would suggest that when you come in, whether you're applying to our bank or any other institution, be very open to doing a very large variety of roles. You may start your journey from the audit function, or you may start your journey in the finance team. But all organizations like ours have internal job postings, have programs that encourage people to apply for various roles. You must take those opportunities that come your way, and do not limit yourself to working for a single team alone. So you may start out in audit, but if you're getting a role that gives you an understanding of branch banking, you must take it. If you're getting a role to manage some significant relationships on the wholesale banking side, you should take it. If you're getting a role that allows you to evaluate the credit portfolio of a SME, you should take it. So the world is your oyster. Once you enter any institution, make sure that you do take advantage of internal job movements to get exposure to a variety of departments. And for you to do that, it is important that you spend at least 2 to 3 years with an institution. Young people nowadays are in a great hurry to leave, and I'm earning 10 lakhs here, my friend is earning 12 lakhs in the next firm. I should leave this and go there. That's penny wise, pound foolish. What as young people you need to focus on is only 2 things. You need to work for a setup that values your ability as a chartered accountant. And second, any setup that allows you to learn new things and offers you growth in the future. For you to take advantage of that, it is important that you spend at least 2 to 3 years with an institution to get the maximum value out of that role. Don't be a rolling stone. They say a rolling stone gathers no moss. It is very important that you join a good institution of repute, and an institution that is founded on good ethics, an institution that has good growth prospects, and make the most of all the opportunities that come your way within the organization. So these are very simple things, but the expectation as a corporate from chartered accountants is only this, that have the patience and the intelligence to make the most of the opportunities that come your way. Thank you. I'd like to hear any questions. If anybody has a question, anything, if you want to know about more about what kind of roles we offer, or how any questions on the interview process, I'd love to hear from you.
Yes, ma'am, we have certain questions. Uh, there is a question, my communication skill is not good. How do I improve these skills?
Okay. So I think there are two things. I'll just share with you a story. I traveled for a holiday off the coast of Spain, a very small island. And there was a person who was serving me coffee there and spoke in fluent English. And that's not a language that is very commonly spoken on that small island. And I was so surprised. And I said, how did you learn to speak English so well? And that person said, oh, I watch a lot of English movies and I've learned English through that. So I think one of the best ways for you to learn a language is to watch some films in the language that you wish to pick up. For example, if it is English, it is important that you watch some English movies. So you're learning and also having some fun on the side. And of course, it's also important that you read a few books, because I think the reading habit has taken a bit of a hit in the world of WhatsApp. Your attention span is very little, but read some good books and watch a lot of movies and try and communicate your thoughts with each other or with your family members, wherever you can get an audience to practice your language. In 2 to 3 months, you can, if you really set your mind to it, you can easily crack it.
Thank you, ma'am. What should women do who has had her career break, or someone who has been in practice for audit of small companies and then again join industry?
See, there are lots of organizations nowadays, including ours, that promote gender diversity in a very big way. So lots of organizations have programs where you're looking at taking back mothers who've had a break in their career, or for marriage, or as a mother, etc. Our duties as a mother and our duties as a wife are very important, and we must not shirk from those duties. However, your career may take a small setback, but you can very easily overcome it. When my daughter was born, I had to give up work, and I was at home for 4 to 5 years. I was not working at all because I was not comfortable leaving my child with help, etc. So I came back to work, and I felt a little bad that some people who were with me are now ahead, but it's a matter of time. If you're willing to work hard and you're very committed to what you need to do, it's only a matter of time that a good person's work is recognized and you will grow very fast. So don't lose hope. Make sure you fulfill your duties that you're required to do at home, but get back to work and you will thrive. You will have greater confidence in yourself as an individual, because now you are a wife and a mother, and those dimensions add a lot of richness to your life. And that confidence somehow shows at workplace. It's very different, and you will just find yourself, and if you find a good mentor, a female mentor at workplace, I would very strongly urge you to have a candid conversation with any senior lady who is at your workplace, and ask her, what is it that you can do to get to the level that she is at? And most of them are extremely helpful.
Thank you, ma'am. We only this much questions we had. A thankful heart is not the greatest virtue, but the parent of all other virtues. Thank you, ma'am, for your insights and sparing your valuable time for our participants today. I now take the privilege to welcome Ms. Ranjana Tripathi, who will guide us on managing work-life balance while flexi, work from home and part-time working. Ranjana Tripathi is professionally international level certified life coach with specialization in personal transformation and spiritual from Symbiosis USA. She is independent director from ICA, neuro-linguistic practitioner from NLP Goa, Masters in Client Relationship Management Lucknow, Six Sigma certified from E-Example Consulting Group Chennai, Quality Management Calcutta, Software Engineering with Excellence NIIT Kolkata, Microsoft Certified Topper in Visual Language NIIT, and Bachelor's in Commerce from Kolkata. She is MBA Foundation Finance 1-year diploma from ICFAI Hyderabad. She has had 20 plus years of experience in corporate training and coaching. Last worked as head of department in the leading real estate company of India. She has varied experience in education, software, and real estate industries. She's been associated with initiating and developing learning and development department, client relationship management, department to managing business, and revenue generation by motivating team, training them, and implementing the best practices. With this brief introduction, I take the privilege to welcome Ranjana ma'am. Ma'am, all over to you.
Thank you so much, Ashita. I hope I'm audible.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you so much for this wonderful introduction. And I'm glad that I'm today here in this platform, because last time also I got this opportunity to speak here amidst all of you, and that was wonderful experience. So today, coming back to the same platform really makes me very, very, very happy. And the important part, what I feel about this entire event, what is happening is, why not women want to come back? Like why it is like the coming back is so difficult for them. So in that case, really, as Ms. Deepika had just mentioned about her experience. So before I start showing you my presentation, even I have something which is quite relatable to Ms. Deepika, that I was heading a department before I left the job, corporate job, because I really wanted to give my son time and I didn't want him to stay with some helper or nanny. And during that phase, I actually utilized my time to understand what is my passion and how would I like to go for it. Instead of sulking on, like, why people are going ahead of me. Yeah, there were points when I used to feel very low, because I used to feel that I could have progressed and been a vice president or something, because head of the department already was a very senior profile. Then after hard time and phase, what happened at one point of time, I realized I actually enjoyed talking to people. I actually enjoyed advising people and working on their life improvement. So that gave me a second break of what exactly was my passion. So instead of getting into the lurk of doing something just for the sake of doing, I could actually give time to my son, and he was nurtured properly. Now he is doing his engineering from BITS. So there are lots of stuff which I see as a progressive thing from my personal front for my son. But then, see, important point is today what you people are getting, that those days we never got that kind of platform. That is virtue. That was not there. So now if you have got a platform where you can actually balance your family life and at the same time you can take care of your home, why would you not like to pick it up? So if had it been there when I was planning to leave my company or I was leaving the job, maybe I would have been in some certain places, but then I am happy because I could at least create that passion, what I was looking for. So today we would be talking about this new turn which post-COVID has taken, and that is now we are doing best work or best performance virtually. So how important and interesting is this, and how difficult it can be? We would be looking at those points. So I'm sharing my screen, and if it is not visible, just let me know, please. Just give me a sec. So is it visible?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Yeah, great. Thank you so much. So today the topic, as you know, it would be managing work-life balance. And the word work-life balance also often has been taken as flexible or part-time working. So how it is like, what would be the life if it is flexible and part-time working? So we will be taking care of that. But before that, before we jump into all those flexible part-time working, let's try to understand the important words which has been introduced here. That is work-life balance. So what happens, work-life balance is using this word balance. And this is what we need to know first. Why balancing? What is balancing and why it is important? So let me just take you to a part of your physical body workout. So if you could visualize yourself, if you're doing something like yoga or you do weight training or you do any kind of workout, your trainer or you yourself know that there should be certain posture, there should be certain thing which should help you in creating that balance. Why? If there is no balance, then probably the kind of work which you want to do, the kind of exercise which you want to do, or maybe in yoga when you are taught about balancing, it is asked because the balancing would teach you to be mindful at that particular time also, and also it will help you physically. So when balancing word is used, it is almost used in all physical aspect as well, in a normal mental emotional aspect as well, because balancing is something which is always required to stay or to sustain or to survive. So balancing is an important word. So had it not been in work life balance, had it not been in any kind of career or anything else, but it is just simply, if you're a housewife, even if somebody is a housewife or somebody is a student, balancing still persists. Balancing word would be there. So balancing is definitely an important part. Why it is important? Why balancing act? Because that is only the survival part. That is the survival thing. You cannot just avoid it. So how good it could be if we get this opportunity as a women where we can actually balance everything. And we can balance everything in the sense not to be too obsessed about it, but definitely we would want to balance things so that we can proceed and we can progress further. So this is the need and this is the requirement of balancing. So we will be taking care of how this virtual platform is going to help us in balancing. When we talk about balancing, as I gave you one example, that balancing does not restrict only to work, and that is the truth. That is the truth, because even if you're anywhere at any part of your life or any activity you are in, if there is no balancing, you will fall. So the important part is that the balancing has to be there. So let's just see, where is the balancing required most? First is mental health. So if we take into consideration that, okay, I'm balancing my family, I'm balancing my home, I'm balancing my work, but then mental health is going on a toss. So that means, do you think it should be called as a balancing act? Do you think there will be a kind of balancing act which is happening during your work area also, and also at the time when you want to take care of your family? So if your mental health is on a toss, then even if you speak out that you're balancing everything, so this is a cross. So balancing act has to work on your mental health as well. So you just cannot superficially speak about this, that, yeah, I'm balancing everything, so I'm okay. No, if your mental health has taken a toss, then definitely that is not a balancing act. So we'll go deep into it, like how exactly we need to work on it. But please be mindful that if the mental health is going on a toss, that is not balancing. So the first important priority to balance anything is what? Mental health. Second, physical. So do you think if mental health is good, physical health will be good as well? Do you think, if you want to answer on the text, or I don't know whether the text part is available here or not. So if you want to answer on comment side, that do you think if the mental health is balanced, physical health is also balanced? If you think yes, you can type yes. I definitely am not able to see here. So if you think it is yes for both, then you're right, because mental health, if it is balanced, then definitely the physical health will be balanced. Vice versa, if the physical health is balanced, the mental health will be balanced. So both the things are equal. That is why in the balance, if you see, there are two parts and that need to be balanced. That is why it is called balance. So the balancing act would take lots of things under consideration. It's not just the one thing, work-life balance, family life balance. It's not just that one thing. So we have to shift from mental, and then we have to shift from physical, mental, physical, then career. So if you're not happy in your career, if you're not very sure about what you're doing or what you want to do, what are your goals in your life, and if it is not balanced, it is definitely going to impact your mental health, which again is going to impact your physical health. So another integral part of balancing would be your career. So it needs lots of introspection at your side. You need to work on yourself. Like the way I told you that when I left my job, when nothing was there in my career aspect as well, I had taken sabbatical, I was sitting at home taking care of my child. I was also thinking during that time, what exactly excites me? What is that one passion which I would like to do? If it had been a job, if there is a job which I actually intend to do, then what will be my goal? Like from that particular phase, from one particular job post, what is the the journey which I want to take for my career? So that has to be very, very clear in your mind. If you don't have yet, that's not a problem. You can always work on them. You can always research and understand what career excites you a lot. Like in the case, like suppose if you started with auditing and suddenly you feel like from auditing I would like to shift into something else. So this would be my journey, this would be my goals, and this would be the steps I am going to take. So that introspection need to be done, and you can get help from other women colleagues of yours, those who have already taken those paths or who can guide you. So do be open for that. Be open for discussing about your career plans, your aspirations. Then we will move to passion. So now the question comes, somebody may think that career could be my passion. Like it is, you're lucky enough if you have a passion, which is your career. But sometimes what happens, your career is something which you actually want to, you envision yourself to be there. But then that is not your passion, a complete passion. You have a partial passion for your career, but your passion is something else as well. And mostly women do have some creative aspect in their life. Either they want to write books, they want to write poems, or they want to sing, they want to dance, or they want to do something which is different from what they are doing presently, like whatever the career they are in. So again, another integral part on the balancing act is your passion. Now, if you have not yet identified your passion, then this is the time when you want to come back and you want to join your work, you want to start, that is a kind of restart of your journey. You want to again take a big jump from what you had been and now you want to lead yourself to, then it is very important that you work on this aspect as well. Like what exactly makes you happy? What is that away from, like that is separate from your career, but you really want to work on it. You really want to do that because that is your me time. That is something which gives you lots and lots of energy. So the passion is also one part which you need to introspect and you need to write it down. You need to understand like what makes you happy. So mental health, physical health, career, passion, and finally, the important part is family health. You, as a woman, we all know that if the child is sick, we wouldn't be happy. We won't be in the same productivity. We won't be in the same energy. We are, by nature, we are emotional, sensitive people. And that is why what happens, if anything is not balanced at our end, it will show on our work as well. So what we need to do is we need to understand how important this part is for us to be productive, to still be consistently working for what I have aspired to. So this part, how we can take care of family health. And please, when I speak about this, that we women are sensitive and we need to take care of this, it doesn't mean that it is your sole work. What I mean by this is be clear about what is your expectation as a family health. And if suppose somebody is not well, it's not you that you have to come back as a superwoman and take care. It is like, how would you manage if there is some kind of differences on your aspiration about your family health, but it is not exactly the way it is you want. So then there might be some people whom you are either, I shouldn't be using the dependent word, but you rely on. You talk to them, you bring in them in the picture, and you also have a kind of collaboration, like who would be taking care of what in case if some sudden issue happens or some sudden emergency is there. So before you jump into some new journey or you are restarting your career, why not we take certain time for ourselves and just do some kind of homework to understand how the new career or how the new start, what you are already interested to start in, basically would be balanced all through when you are fully getting involved in your new career, like fully in the sense mentally and obviously physically. So here are the balancing aspect categories, or you could say stages, what you need to take care of. So the suggestion would be that after this session ends, what you can do, you can create a journal for yourself. You can write all these things: mental health, physical, career, passion. How do you look yourself in all these three aspects? What will make you happy in all those aspects, and how optimum way you see them when you're working, and you will not be disturbed by them. So this is something which you should work on. So starting off with this virtual or flexi timing, whatever we are going to discuss, the very first thing, the root thing, which is called the base, the foundation, is balancing act, that you cannot just ignore. So just do make a journal for it, write it down, and then we'll see how good it is for us to take this opportunity of virtual working or part-time working. I hope it is clear to everyone so far. So we are shifting to some reasons why this was. We all know that COVID, post-COVID, and you won't believe the COVID, during COVID, I had addressed 10,000 people virtually. So if we see offline work, do you think it would have been possible for me to even travel and cover 10,000 people in such a shorter time span, to basically address them on emotional life balance, because everybody, the emotion was on a toss during that time. But just because of the virtual thing, just because it was virtual, I was able to do it from my home itself. And now see, when I know the advantages of virtual and flexi timing, what is happening is my home, for one room, is completely a setup of my office, and I am working from my comfort zone. It doesn't mean that I don't go offline, but this is by primarily work way. So it is actually giving me lots of positive thing as well. There are certain negative things, we would be seeing that. So how to overcome those negative things so that we stay in that zone and keep working in a highly productive way. So the problems that lead to flexi working style was some of the common reasons that we can talk about is increased responsibilities at work. See, once you go to the office, you go to the physical space, you go there, the traveling time, the commuting time, including that, and apart from the 8 to 9 hours, that particular time frame which is given, it is only and only your work, and it is you. You don't have any other thing to see or any other thing to even work on it. See, multitasking is a very good thing, and it is always mostly considered synonym to women employees, or even at home, the housewives are also considered as multitasking. But let me tell you one thing, it drains lots of energies. Most of the time it drains lots of energy, and sometimes it has to be very selective whether you would like to be multitasker or not. So here, when you go to the office, basically, if you try to do lots of multitasking, your energy is drained a lot. So then what happens? There is a poor work-life balance. So here, when we shift to this flexi working style, the basic problem which had been like carried forward from past, it was increased responsibilities at work. It is something which can be discarded if we shift to this flexi working style. Next is working longer hours. You all know, you must, those people, those who were on sabbatical, coming back, they know they had their past, okay? And you see your husband, you see other people also as well. So the increased responsibilities at work is also a part which led to post-COVID. People researched and analyzed and realized, how about flexi working style? How about virtual work style? So this is another way. Increased responsibilities at work also led people to think in another form of working. So working long hours, increased responsibilities at homes. And then what happens, flexi working style is also, the birth of flexi working style did come because there were so many responsibilities at home as a woman, and we had to take care of them. As I said, I only have one son, but still I could not leave my child with helper, as Ms. Deepika also referred. The same problem, the same issue, that nuclear family, lots of issues. You cannot just leave the child like that. And then sometimes your in-laws are visiting. Sometimes some people are there at your home, and then you have to take care of them also. So there are lots and lots of responsibilities, which sometimes you have to drop your child to some certain classes or some sports. So to manage all those things, how good it could be if there is something which is letting you to explore your working style as well. You are also happy doing something which is related to your family, right? So increased responsibilities at home as well did bring this flexi working style in life. Having children, definitely lots of women's life changes the moment they are mother. My lots of colleagues, my lots of friends did not leave their job even if their children were growing up, but that is their own core choice. Probably they had a good support system, or they had certain other vision which they wanted to use it. But then we should never compare. We should never compare to anybody else. Why I'd say this? Because I have seen everybody has a journey. Every person listening here, every participants, those who are here, you people are unique. Each one of you are unique. Each one of you will have a different journey for yourself. The only thing which is required is to take that first step, or you say restart your journey with that first step, which is meant to be taken that moment. It's not like 10 years back, what steps did you take? It would be valid now. So when you have a children, definitely there is a huge change in your life. And it also takes sometimes emotional outburst. There are lots of changes physical happening. There are lots of changes emotionally happening. There are lots of changes which is like your lifestyle changes sometimes. So definitely don't pressurize yourself by comparing with other people and thinking that might be your life has stopped and it is not going to proceed, or it is not going to move as other people's lives are happening, other women friends are progressing. So just take your life as a unique journey. Think about how best you can do in your life journey, in your life career. So that is why the first slide is very important, because once you are clear about what you want, you would not be comparing with anybody else. And once you are clear about what you want, what will happen? Your steps would be different, totally customized uniquely for you. So having children is a big change, and accept it because you are happy as a mother, I'm sure. So accept it and then start thinking from that angle, how and what you would like to bring. So the flexi working style generated or came into picture only because of certain problems which people started facing and realizing. There are lots of men, those who want to do from work from home because they want to be a part of parenting. So things are changing. Things are changing in a very beautiful way. So why not just use that leverage of change? So if the problems are shifting to some new changes for us, let's just grab this opportunity so that we also grow and others also grow at the same time. I hope this is clear so far. Here, so we would be talking about now, suppose we have shifted to this platform now, the platform of flexi working, platform of virtual, work from home, and all those part has now been a part of our lifestyle. So do we expect some kind of changes here as well? Like, is it too easy? Is it going to be great? Or there will be some issues, or there might be certain problems that we may face in this part of work style as well. So yeah, everything which comes into existence has some pros and cons. But how much it is giving me advantages, that is the important part. So considering that if we are returning back to the career, and especially women, and after children or some changes in their family life, and we have chosen this particular style of working and we want to grab this opportunity, it would be great if we will understand the pros and cons, a bit of it, so that if there is a problem, we are able to handle it. Handle it very nicely, handle it calmly, and we are mindful about what is happening around us. So here are the tips that we should take care of. The first one is perfectionism. See, I personally believe perfectionism and multitasking, those sometimes work as just opposite to what we perceive and believe. Like, it's not always advantageous. It sometimes burns you a lot. It is sometimes draining. It is something like that, you make a very high standard of yourself and you keep judging yourself every second, that no, this has to be perfect, this has to be perfect. If it is not perfect, I'm not doing great. So now this is something which is draining you. And imagine if you have a family to look after, if you have a child to look after, his emotional, his physical state you want to see, check, and you want to be there and be present. If you're obsessed with your perfectionism, then definitely it is going to hamper your happiness and hamper the real purpose of choosing flexi or virtual work from home type of work process. So don't go for it. Just let go of perfectionism. Try your best. Try your best, but then don't judge yourself, because someday if you're not perfect, it will not blow out anything in a huge way. So just let it be normal. Just let yourself accommodate in the new style of working. Give yourself chances to grow, learn from your failures, and do not worry about being perfect. Also, when you don't believe in this concept of obsession of being perfect, you also should not try so hard for multitasking. This is what I can tell you from my personal experience. Do multitasking to a certain extent where it is possible for your mental health and physical health. Don't go for much. You always can have options. So try to work on options. This would be the smartest way to work. Unplug. Now, when I say unplug, see what happens sometimes when we work from home, we are in a zone where there is no demarcation, there is no division, and there is no the different barrier which is supposed to be created between your normal life and your work life. Those simultaneously both are being taken care of. So what happens sometimes, again, if you are overdoing it, it will become a tension for you, it will become a stress for you. So if I'm specifically here unplug, I'm talking about something which is related to computer, something which is related to your phone, or something which is related to digital. So if suppose if you get lots of work and it is all digital type of work and you are like totally engrossed into it, then make it a point that there will be certain 5 minutes break or 10 minutes break which you really want for yourself. You just want to chill out, you just want to take a break. And from all, and now what happens, what is the biggest mistake what we do is we take a break and then we are on phone, because this is what we consider as a break. We'll be we'll be scrolling unnecessary things, or we'll be checking Instagram, or we'll be checking WhatsApp, or whatsoever what you do. That's not a break. So when we unplug means totally off the technical thing, whatever you have. Right? So unplug is another thing which you need to do, because since there is no divisions of timing and all those things, you need to create yourself. Exercise. So people also take very, take it with normally, like, okay, I'm doing work from home, or this is a flexi working style. So I can do exercise later, or I can do this thing later. So now the very first slide showed what is your passion, what makes you happy. So in case some women really enjoy exercise, or for their health, for their well-being, they want this exercise to happen. So please coordinate your time like that. Don't take it just for granted that I'm working from home, it is all good, so I can do it anytime. It doesn't work like that. So even if you're working from home, there should be something which you need to decide upon. Like, yeah, this is something which I have to do, and I have to get up early morning, half an hour before the work starts, or I'm going to do it quite early. Some people do it early, some people do it in the evening. So decide your time. This is your time. This is your me time. This is something which is good for your health. So why would you just rule it out from your normal daily thing? Meditate. Meditation, I keep telling this, even in the last, when I had come as a speaker, that day also I spoke about this meditation. Meditation is good for your mental, emotional health. So what you can do, you don't need to just sit for half an hour or 1 hour, just 10 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes of your time when you are just trying to be thoughtless. So it does come with experience. You will learn it slowly, gradually. But if you like to just be in the music, do that. Sit in the music. There are lots of music available on YouTube, which will really calm your senses, really calm. If you're anxious, it will calm you down. And those music is, if you want to write it down, it is called subliminal music. So subliminal music helps you to be grounded. It reduces your anxiousness. So even if you are at home, or you are at the flexi work style, working for the flexi style of whatever the way you want to take care of your future career. So do these few things just to make yourself calm and not to be very anxious. unplug or limit mobile activities are the similar thing. The only thing is that one is related to the computer, another is related to just normal scrolling. So just try to be away from that when you want to chill out, or you want to just be with yourself. Don't try to make it as a me time. Please don't do that. Have social life. So work from home, again, what it does, it stops you from social life, because there is a kind of comfort zone which comes in your life. You know, sometimes what happens, see, suppose if I am conducting a session, I am here as a speaker, I may be seen only half, you know. So sometimes I'm like, okay, I'm wearing a pajama or a track pant, and just I'm wearing a something which is okay, visible, good and visible in the screen, and I'm doing my work. And also there is a comfort zone, you know, there is something which you feel like, okay, I'm now in pajamas or PJs, I don't need to go anywhere. Why to change? Why to go and meet someone? So this is something which happens in life when you start working from home. So don't do that. If you see that you're moving or shifting to your work from home kind of comfort zone, where something is going off in your personal life, like maybe meeting your friends for a cup of coffee, or it is a kind of your time where you actually relax and talk and laugh. So that is a point when you need to think about it. Okay, so work from home has started, flexi timing has started, but that does not mean that I don't deserve to have a me time. So what I need to do is I need to decide and design my life in such a way that weekly or per day wise, whatever is important for your health, emotional, mental, or your physical health, you need to work on them as well. You need to plan, you need to take an effort so that you are you're happy in a happy zone. You're balancing also perfectly, and at the same time you're living your life in the way you want. So it is not like overwhelming for you. So these are the tips which you can use it while you're working from home or you're in the flexi working style. Now, let's just understand a very simple English statement that if I go for flexible working hours, like what could be the advantage? So it is like, okay, I'm giving you the tips, and I'm telling you what are the pros and cons and everything. But in a simple line, if I have to understand what is the benefit of flexible working hours. So the flexible working arrangements is what basically it is a statement which is basically for the flexible working hours company when they decided to go for it. It allows employees to negotiate a less rigid working arrangement to improve work-life balance and their overall contribution to their company. So the company, when it thinks about this, that means they are also concerned about your mental, physical health. They are also concerned about your work-life balance. And for women, so it's like a boon period now. So it is this time is something which is very boon period, and nobody should leave this opportunity. So when you get this flexible working arrangement, basically the employers also, the company also wants you to have a great time with your family, your children, your own self, and then work, because that gives you a great self-esteem. If you are earning from what you have learned, or if you have a place where you are using your knowledge, it actually boosts your self-esteem. So earlier there was no such thing, Elaine, but now there are so many opportunities to be at this point of time where you are working, you're earning, at the same time you're balancing your family. So the flexible working hour is really a in thing, and one should never leave, because see, the purpose also, the company, when they decided to go for it, there was this intention which they had. This is something which I'm just generally sharing with you. It depends, flexi working time basically depends on company to company where you're working. So it could be flexi time, it could be remote work, it could be compressed work week. So compressed work week is something where wherein, like, suppose if you're working for 3 hours per day, someday you work for 6 hours and then you take a off next day. So you compensate the next day work in the on particular one day, and then you are taking a leave, or you don't want to work next day because of some important assignment which has come in. Just imagine, these things were not there earlier. If you have already entered in an office, it would be minimum 8 hours work that you have to be in the office, and then you may need to extend if it is required. But here now you are checking, you are doing things according to the flexibility that is required at that point of time, and which is giving you ample of time for yourself. So flexi timing can be in any form. So wherever you're going, you're working, you might be offered in another form, the flexible working arrangement. It could be flexi time, it could be remote work, it could be compressed work week, or it could be job sharing. So job sharing is also, few companies, they follow job sharing, and they let you do the kind of collaboration and do work together as a team. And imagine when you go and do this work from home, or you do this flexible working, you meet new people. So there is something which you gain also as a networking. So anyways, so these are the things which you get offered by company, depending on which company you want to work for. Definitely all these slides I have been like talking about the benefits. So we would just reconsider it, like what would be the benefit if I actually choose this and grab this opportunity to get back to the work, do the choose this flexi time work. And then definitely first thing is self-esteem. Your self-esteem just like, it just shoots up. You know that you are contributing something for yourself, right? So apart from that, a better work-life balance definitely improves your health and well-being. It's proven, but then I have given you the first slide. You need to work on it, on that, and you need to redesign everything, like what exactly your aspiration is. Envision yourself in every situation. See what you exactly want in your life, and then work on it. Take some actions, so it will be improved health and well-being. Productivity increases, job satisfaction increases. So the work which was supposed to be done, like 10 hours you were giving in the company, and you were trying to do a kind of a sort of work which was given to you, and now you feel like maybe if I'm doing 4 hours per day, this work won't be completed the way it was supposed to be, then you are not right here. Because sometimes what happens when everything is sorted and you just give your optimum 4 hours, your work is done. So increased productivity and job satisfaction, definitely, because you're happy inside, you're happy outside. Reduced stress and burnout rates. This is also very important, because when it is office work, when it is career, definitely there is a stress, there is a burnout, but definitely when we choose this option of work, the stress and the burnout is quite less than before. Better employee engagement, because employees are so happy. They really want to interact with each other. They are there is a team bonding, there is a collaboration, there is a kind of elevating each other. So definitely this is better employee engagement. And finally, I would end with this thing. You will never find time for anything. If you want time, you must make it. So how good is this, that when you are getting time for yourself, and then still, if you don't want to grab the opportunity, what to say? So you should go for it, and you should do all these activities to understand and envision your work-life balancing journey. Any question? Thank you so much for participants, and I hope
Thank
could
you,
take
ma'am.
away something. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. We have certain questions.
Yes.
How do demand salary at par with industry standards after a sabbatical?
Okay. See, if you're confident about what you bring across the table, like when you are joining any organization, the sabbatical should not demean your personality. If you're happy with yourself, whatever experience you have gathered in the sabbatical time, it will not be difficult to negotiate, because you're very sure about what you're going to bring in, what is the contribution. Aggressive negotiation never works. So if you just go and hit, like, this is what I want, I don't want to work less than this is something which is wrong way of projecting yourself. Plan it out. What is that you think they are expecting? Because you must be sure about the KRA or the work area that they're looking at. So how much good you feel there? Apart from, like, it's not about sabbatical, it is about your knowledge, your experience, your confidence, your belief in yourself, and the way you carry yourself. In that case, if you could actually project yourself as a very indispensable person for them, in a very subtle way, not aggressive way, not rude, you will get the salary what you want, I believe.
Thank you, ma'am. Our next question is how to cope up with the changes in subjects that take place during our break.
Yeah. So see, IT people mostly suffer a lot in that part, because once they leave the IT section and then when they join, there are huge differences. At your end, if you think there are certain things which you are being offered to do, but then you have left it far behind. So before you start planning for your this journey again of restarting your career, why don't you just research certain things which is required? And there is no dearth of learning. I still learn. I'm learning. Still, if I see that there are certain things, what my colleague or my par people are doing it, and I might not be aware about it, I try to find out the best places from where I can learn. And then I start learning. So in case if you feel that there is a void and the subject has changed and you need to get into that same level, please research it, read it, study it, or talk to people, those who are expert, and then see if it resonates with you. Just go for it. There is no ending, there is no end. You can always learn and seek information.
Thank you, ma'am. How to handle anxiety during interview?
Okay, this is great. Let me just give you very, very short example. When my first job was in a software company, because I was a software professional as well, software engineer. So I was hardly 23 probably, 22, 23. And when I was sitting for the interview, I was with people, those who were qualified from IIT. I was not from IIT. So I was sitting as a software engineer. They were sitting as a software engineer. But the only thing which was different, what I felt was in me, it was not about IIT degree or certificate or something. It was like I was envisioning one thing, that the panel which I'm going to face are IITians and Indian Institute of Management experts. They were sitting there. So I was just thinking that I would be easily, I would go inside and I'll be able to answer everything. And I'm a good candidate for them. That was a kind of vision which I already had, and I had worked for it. So I was not bothered about what people are sitting, who are there, are they IITians? Okay, I'm not an IITian. So when you're not mindful about what you bring in, what you want to see, what results you want to see, a bit of anxiousness is always there. That is a healthy anxiousness. But when it becomes it's overwhelming, then it becomes destructive for you. So what is the best way is, how do you see yourself? If you can see yourself as winning the interview, as coming out happy, happily you're coming out of the interview room, and you know that you will be able to, don't see other candidates. Don't see other people's certificates. Some people bring so many certificates and all those things to show, and suddenly you are like lost. Okay, maybe they are the best. I'm like totally not good. So this is something where your self-esteem and self-confidence is already, somebody has already crumbled it, because you have a kind of mindset where you see all those things and you're scared. Why to do that? You don't see anybody, na? You just see yourself. Be just mindful that you have to go inside the interview room. You have to speak about it. And you are a confident person who can handle. If any question you're not able to answer, that is okay. You'll accept it and you will deal it spontaneously. So it is absolutely fine. It is human. It is human to not to know certain things in the interview. So when you envision properly, when you accept the situation properly, and you're not in competition with anybody else who is sitting for the interview, you will never be anxious like that.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. How to switch industry from insurance to banking?
Well, this financial switching, I'm not a perfect person, the right person to tell about. But definitely, the general statement I can say that I switched my career from a head of the CRM to life coach, trainer, organization development. How do I do that? So basically, I did lots of research to understand what will be the steps which I need to take to reach here. So the steps, best authentic certifications where I can get, so that it is valued in the market. Okay. And apart from that, what homework I need to do, how many free sessions I need to give, how many places I need to just go and work and just get an experience. So this is a research work. So anywhere you want to go, you are here, you want to go somewhere, obviously there are steps. There are certain things which you need to do research on. Do that research, work on it, try to understand what will be your steps, what are the things which you need to do. If there is a demand of certification, then you have to go and study and get the certification. If it is a demand that you have to go and work somewhere live and then see and get the experience, do and go and get it. And then slowly, gradually build your new career according to the foundation that you have laid from here to there.
Thank you, ma'am. That's all from the questions we have. You have really given us a visionary with strong academic learning and having deep professional insights. Thank you very much, ma'am, for sharing your views with us today. If done effectively, the interview enables the employer to determine if an applicant's skill, experience, and personality meet the job requirements. It also helps the employer assess whether an applicant would likely fit in within the corporate culture. Interviews are an important part of recruitment process because they can help HR professionals meet a variety of candidates and determine which one is right for their company needs. So today we have organized the mock interview to enable and guide all of you through the interview process. We have with us 3 experts who will take you through the entire process. That is, they will interview our candidates and give an eye view of how in reality interview works like. I welcome CA Gunit Chhabra, CA Shaili Shah, and CA Sanchit Jain. It's my proud privilege to introduce all the 3 experts before this August audience. Gunit Chhabra, Chartered Accountant since 2006, Director in Lovelock and Lewis Chartered Accountants LLP. Joined as qualified trainee in 2006 in assurance practice and performed statutory, tax, and group admin or group audits. Transitioned to learning and education in 2013 and working on content development and rolling trainees as per business need, monitoring compliances for Pan India and training instructors to deliver trainings on audit and US curriculum. Part of CSR activities of the firm involving teaching underprivileged students of NGO, preparing them for interview, and supports the diversity and inclusion initiative driven of the firm. Welcome, Gunit ma'am. Our next expert for the day, Shaili Shah, 6+ years of experience in financial industry and heading credit at Kotak Mahindra Pension Fund. Have her own investment advisory firm where she helps people with financial planning. Educationally, she has completed CA, CS, and 2 levels of CFA. She's also have been associated as a teaching faculty for the course of CFA. Welcome, Shaili Shah. Our next expert for the day, Sanchit Jain, a chartered accountant, is currently pursuing PhD in finance from IIM BA. Curious person by nature, he has gained exposure in diverse fields, leading him to be a better academician, trainer, and educator. He sees himself as a catalyst for professional growth for those in his orbit. His years of experience with the banking sector, financial service sector has given him a firm footing in the financial world. He has trained hundreds of financial services professionals in personal finance with a focus on mutual funds. He integrates a customized chain process of various skills, fusing the gap between the constant upgrading of knowledge, mentoring, training, and technical skills required for the complexities and ever-changing world of finance. With this brief introduction, I welcome Sanchit sir. So we have all the 3 interviewers with us and we have our interviewee, Ms. Parul Pal. So the floor is all yours.
Thank you so much, Ashita. First of all, we'll take the interview for Parul Pal. Is it okay with that, Parul?
Yeah, sure. Thank you. Thank you very much. And good evening to all.
Good evening, Parul. Welcome. Hello, I'm Gunit and I have Shaili and Sanchit with us. And Could you please brief us on your profile and a little bit about your education background?
Yeah, so I'm a qualified chartered accountant. I qualified my CA in November 20 attempt, and after that I joined Gempec India Private Limited. I'm currently working in Gempec as a management trainee, and I'm working in financial planning and analysis domain. So before that, I have worked in, like, before qualifying my CA, I have worked in industry as well as CA firms, where I got exposures in financial reporting profile, as well as the statutory audits and internal audits and the taxation part as well. And in my last organization, I got major exposure in project management. I completed my articleship from Goenka and Associates, where I got major exposure in statutory audits, and apart from that, in ROC work, miscellaneous kind of works, and bookkeeping, accounting, and taxation part.
Okay.
And I have completed my graduation from Delhi University and my master's from IGNOU. That's
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much, Parul.
Thank you.
Parul, you had mentioned just now that you have worked on some major projects in Genpact. Could you just elaborate a little bit on that?
Yeah, so in Gempec, I'm working for a US client, and I'm handling a project in which I'm working on an individual contributor role, in which I'm doing the financial planning and analysis, which involves budgeting and forecasting part. We are like doing the budgeting at the start of the year and the forecasting as a quarterly exercise. I'm doing the monthly reporting activities as well, and this involves the daily activities of approving the purchase requisitions from the department, purchase department, and collaborating with the R2R team as well, the client team as well, and the leadership team as well. So here the major my role is to help in the closing of the books of accounts, the forecasting, the budgeting, the variance analysis part, and preparing presentations for the management, the leadership in the
Okay.
US.
So tell me one thing. So do you interact a lot of with the global people, which is like US, as you mentioned right now?
Yeah, on daily basis I'm interacting with the purchase team, and on a monthly exercise I'm interacting with the leadership team of the client team and the hub team as well. Like Gempec India is working for the hub part, the Gempec US part. So I'm interacting with the hub team and the client as well directly.
Okay. And tell me something that you mentioned that you're doing forecasting, and budgeting. What are the challenges that you faced on a monthly basis, or where you feel that you can overcome these challenges? Like you've been doing this task for, say, a couple of months now. So is there some challenge that you're facing, and how are you thinking of overcoming that particular challenge?
Yeah, so when I joined Gempec, since this is a KPO industry, so the process here is a very different culture and a different process since we are working for the client only. So here, what challenges I faced is, and currently we are also facing, the system is not organized. It is very unstructured process. So we are encountering a challenge of, like, when saying about challenge, when I approve a PR, say for example, the purchase requisitions comes to me because we are the from the finance, so we have to approve a purchase requisition in that, and that purchase requisition is raised by an IT guy, IT person. They are not aware of the accounting codes to be used, the accounting GL codes to be used. So since there was a knowledge gap, there was a huge knowledge gap because they were not aware of the accounting guidelines, and they were doing the mistakes regularly in raising the PRs. And because of that, we have to spend a lot of time correcting the PRs and communicating them the errors. So we identified it, and I communicated it to my manager, my immediate manager at Gempec India, and to the client as well, to the hub team as well. We initiated a training program in which we organized 2 sessions of training to all the IT guys, and we prepare a training deck and the training material from them, and we train them, and we prepared a handy guidelines so that they can check the guidelines, and then they can reach out to us with GL codes to be used. So this was overcome by it. And the next challenge I faced is there was manual intervention a lot. They are using a software called Buy Now as well as Service Now software, but they are not linked. So we have suggested to link both the software, because these softwares are our main data on which basis we are doing our forecasting and budgeting. So we have um suggested the client to link these softwares so that their manual intervention can be eliminated. And also we have submitted a lean idea as well, which means we have submitted an idea in which the manual intervention is eliminated by if we have to update a report manually in Excel, in which we have to update the PRs related to us, and from that the PRs are to be updated by the client in the software. So we eliminated that manual exercise, and we coordinated with the buy now team and prepared a report from which we can like copy paste the data from the report into the Excel sheet. And this has eliminated the time from, say, I can say we are saving 70% of our time. So
That is great, Parul. So basically, so do you kind of monitor these things, like you said, 70%, and in the beginning also you gave the trainings. Did you got success for that?
yeah,
Did you
because
monitor
we
the
are being
success? Was it?
because we are being acknowledged by the client as well for submitting this lean idea. We in Jampeg are required to submit lean ideas for process improvement and to showcase that we are doing some process improvement for the client as well. So we got recognition as well, and this lean idea got approved by the client as well. Since we are saving our FTE hours, the full-time employee hours, in which earlier the one PR was taking us, for example, 3 to 5 minutes for updating in manually in the Excel. Now we are updating, for example, 25 to 30 PRs just in 10 to 15 minutes. So it is saving a lot of time of ours. So this idea is
So,
being
Parul,
recognized.
the challenges and the overcomes, the solutions that you're giving is seems to be pretty good. But I would like to ask, why do you want to, if you're satisfied in the job, why do you want to leave that?
Just because I'm working in the night shift. I'm working in the core night shift.
Okay, okay. Because
Yeah,
see, you recently joined. I think when I see your profile, it's like April 2021. It's almost like a 1.5 years.
yeah.
And shifting again, and because you're giving solutions to the client and you're getting appreciation. So, what is the reason? So, you're basically saying that it is a night shift that you would like to have a morning kind of a
Yeah, I want like Indian shifts now because working in the night shift is becoming a very difficult task for me because it is giving me a lot of health issues. So I believe like it would not be in my benefit, and in the long term I won't be able to continue that.
Okay. And do you think shifting, I mean, because of the reason that you're giving us, and so is it a particular industry that you're looking at, or it's like because you've applied for the chartered accountancy firms as well as the, you're kind of from the industry, you are kind of moving towards this. Is there a particular reason behind that? Is it like a thoughtful kind of act?
Yeah, because in KPO industries, we are being given a specific task or specific role to do. It's been 1.5 years, and I'm doing the same job again and again, and it's becomes a monotonous job. And I think in industry, we are being assigned a particular task, and we have to do it again and again. Till then, our role is not changed. So I think moving from industry to CA firm would be like good for me because I think in industry it is a monotonous job, but in CA firms I would be getting lot of learnings as well as different kinds of work.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Shelly, would you like to say?
Yeah. So, Parul, I had a couple of questions. You mentioned about the monthly reportings that you do. So, could you tell us more about, what kind of monthly reportings that you do?
Yeah, so the monthly activities involves basically the posting of the journal entries, which involves the posting of accrual entries, the reclass entries, the prepaid entries. By the reclass entries, I mean to say that there are 3 cost centers which are being assigned to us of our particular division. So anything which comes to our cost center, but which doesn't pertains to our cost center, we have to reclass it to another cost center to which it pertains. So we are doing this monthly exercise, and we are also posting the prepaid entries. By prepaid entries, I mean to say that the amounts or the expenses which are being paid initially to the vendors but which do not pertains to the current month, so we have to post that prepaid entry and do the amortization entries as well. And for the amortization, I would say that accrual entries comes into the picture. So since it's a huge budget, I'm handling a budget of $9 million per month, which is a very huge budget. So this exercise takes a lot of time, and like I would say the closing activities takes place till BD4, business day 4. And after that the variance analysis parts comes into the picture, in which we have to do variance analysis and prepare report for the management and discussion.
Okay. So, the variance analysis is like a part after you do your monthly reporting. Is
Yeah,
that correct?
yeah.
Okay, and you also spoke about couple of projects that you've undertaken, which has reduced your timelines. So, did you be the lead in those projects, or did you have any coaches helping you? How did it go about?
Yeah, so when I was being assigned this role, so this role was being done by my manager, my immediate manager. So I was being trained by him only. So by initiating this idea and submitting this idea to the immediate manager, I took him help to submit it to the and coordinate it to the hub team. So I took him help to submit this idea to the hub team, to the leadership team.
Okay. Parul, that's all from my side. Sanchit, if you have any questions.
Yes. Hi, Parul. So
Hi.
I have a question for you. You have been working with the company for 1.5 years now. So which side is more challenging, coordinating with your bosses or coordinating with the client?
Challenging, I would say the challenge is basically the unstructured process in which I have to coordinate with the client on daily basis. I am getting PRs around 30 to 35 PRs, purchase requisitions on daily basis. So handling those PRs daily and coordinating with each and every PR creator or solution owner and telling them, especially since these guys are sitting in the US. So first of all, the communication barriers comes into the picture, which I have overcome now, because I am like um, getting used to it, how to communicate with the US team and like understanding their mindset. So the challenge was earlier to communicate my like ideas to them and how to like making them understand that what is the GL code, what exactly we want to them to use. So that was a challenge. Coordinating with the US team was a challenge, but now it is not a challenge because since I am in this role for 1.5 years.
Okay, great. Supposedly we hire you. Where do you see yourself growing from here in next 5 years?
In next 5 years, I see myself as a more evolved and a professionally skilled person. I see that I will be like gain more technical skills in terms of learning the new tech like the Alteryx, Tableau softwares and Power BI and Power Query. And this will not only contribute to my individual skills, but this will help me to work efficiently for the organization as well.
Okay, that's it from my end. So.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Parul. Just one last question. So now the interview is ended. Basically, we wanted to check with you. How did you felt? How was the interview? Before we give you the feedback, we wanted to ask you, how did you?
It was pretty good. Like
Okay.
I was becoming very nervous initially. So, but now I feel confident that I would be confident enough to face the interviews in the companies for which I have applied.
Okay. Just to let you, this is just a mock interview. It's just that because we have because of the time constraint, we could not ask you some technical questions. But definitely, let me just start first from the feedback, and then definitely Shelly and Sanchit can add. Little bit in the beginning, you were a little nervous, and hence we felt that the speed of talking and the pace was a little fast. I think somewhere you need to give the interviewer a little time to digest the information. Like when you started on the Genpact and you started with your journeys, or maybe when you started on the challenges part. So you gave us two challenges. I mean, you gave us, you were discussing about two challenges. The first one was you gave the training, and the second one was the reduction of the hours. But it felt like it, because interview is like an art of storytelling. So it felt like a story, but then somewhere if we do not listen to you carefully, we'll get lost. So you have to give adequate breaks in middle so that a person can digest and ask you counter question. And you have to mold the questions and maybe your answers in such a way that the interviewer will ask you on that particular subjects. So you have to carefully use of course, if given us if we would have got some more time, we would have definitely kind of asked you questions, counter questions on the things that you had said. And but just make sure whatever you're speaking, if you're speaking for 2 minutes, 3 minutes, the sentences that you're using and the breaks have to be appropriate in that. Right? So rest, I think in the end you were pretty confident. You knew the answers. It's just the articulation bit, a little bit more careful in terms of using your the way you're talking, little bit more kind of framing on that, so that you can give time for the interviewer to think about it. Yeah. Anything else from Sanchit and Shelly? You want to add something?
So I have a remark, rather not direct feedback. So in all these questions which talk about your current experience, so whenever you're answering those questions, make sure you do not disclose any confidential part of the job that you've been working on. So you can talk about broadly what you did and all, but make sure that that part is not like really revealed in an interview. That's it.
Okay.
Yeah, I think Guneet and Sanchit have covered most of the feedback. So just that, the nervousness was very much visible like you said initially. So only if you're like you know your answer. So the confidence, if you show it on your face, it's going to be very easy to go and sail through the interview. That's it from my side.
Thank you. Thank you so much for your inputs. I will keep it in mind and hope that I will crack the interview as well.
Definitely you will. Don't worry. Good luck.
All the best.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Good luck, Parul. Thank you very much. We have with us our next interviewee, Ritika Agarwal. So I request all the three interviewers to carry out the interview with Ritika.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening. Hi, Ritika. Why didn't you just introduce yourself once? Tell us something about yourself.
Sure. So, like I'm Ritika Agarwal, and I'm born and brought up in Urai. It is a small town in UP, like between Kanpur and Jhansi. I cleared my CA in fact 21st attempt, and post qualification I joined CA firm, having to work and gained experience in the statutory audit and consulting profile, and further I joined Accenture as CFM analyst. It is basically a client financial management role where we we basically maintain the finance of clients which Accenture deal with.
Great. So you have been with Accenture for a little over a year now, and a year and a month, as I see, and you're looking for a change. May I know the reason for this change? What are you looking at?
Sure. Actually, I feel like as I work here that this profile is not much growth oriented. Like from the future perspective, I do not find it much learning and much growth oriented. Yeah, I would expect that. I would accept this that this profile has grown me as a professional, but not much growth oriented. I see it, and so for long term, I do not prefer it. So I am looking for a change in role.
Okay. Your profile also mentions that you have been developing innovative solutions for clients. Could you throw some light on that?
Yeah, sure. Actually, what we do, we develop various pricing models for the clients. Like we extract. If you know, like in pricing models, we need the revenue, the cost part. So we extract various report. We try to find out that what with the trial cost, the indirect cost, the expenses Accenture will incur. Then there are many predetermined rates. So we apply that, and that we find out the revenue for the deal, that would be profitable to Accenture, and also that would be profitable to client too.
All right, that's all from my side now. Puneet or Shelly?
Puneet, do you want to take the next set of questions?
Yes. Sorry, my mic was just, yeah. Yes, I would like to take. So Ritika, you mentioned about various projects that you have taken. Could you please elaborate on one of the project?
Yes,
you did some forecasting reviews with the senior leadership. How was dealing with those leadership team?
Yes, actually what we do, we have to deal with the leadership on day-to-day basis, like on a monthly basis. So we have many projects, as I'm part of one of the contract services where we handle many of the clients, not just a single client. So we have to deal with various leadership level, with the various delivery leads. So we maintain pricing for them, and further we book sale for them, and further we maintain the financials of those clients, that if there would be any increase in cost, if there would be any if that doesn't went profitable, or there is any change in plans. So likewise we maintain those financial, and we propose those financial to the leadership, and then get their approval on that.
So tell me something, Ritika, that did you face any challenge working with the leadership team, because you're working with a senior leadership, as I understand from you, that you're working on the monthly closing activities. Did you face any challenge where you would have quoted down a particular figure, and how did you overcome that challenge in terms of, it's sometimes difficult. The boss is always boss, right? So how did you overcome that? People manage, what was the things that you did? It's like a people management kind of thing. How did you do that?
Yes, you're right that dealing with leadership is a very challenging role. Actually, dealing with my seniors is not that challenging, that they are very helpful, but dealing with leadership very challenging, because most of the time they do not understand the financial perspective. So we have to, and they do not understand the compliance perspective. So we have to make them understand, so that we need the signed document, we need this for the compliance point of view. view. So these challenges I have to face every time. And currently also I'm booking a sale for him, and facing various challenges on the compliance point of view to make them understand that these are the documents required, these are the compliance required. So yes, it is very challenging. Also leadership level, they have the time constraint, so that's also chasing them. And yeah, that's become quite a difficult and challenging, but yes, we manage it because as I mentioned, that this profile actually groomed me as a professional to deal with various kind of level, to leadership, delivery, to the finance leads and my juniors, everything.
So was there any situation where you had said no to a leader or a leadership team and said that, no, whatever you're saying is completely, not correct, and you had a separate view of it? Did you face some situation like this?
Yes, actually we have to face it most of the time. If something is not correct, so we have to mention it, because they do not understand. We know that they will not understand, so we try to break it into pieces and try to make them understand that what is the exact process and how it should follow. We just can go like this and do anything without the compliance. So yes, I have to disagree with them, and I have to come back with the proofs that why it is required, and as per the policy I have to show them that why it is required.
Okay, thank you, Ritika. And tell me one thing, what about technology? How, if I give you a scale of 1 to 10, how good are you in the technology? 10 being the highest.
Okay, so if you ask me regarding like some tools like SAP, yeah, I work in the SAP environment, so I would give it around 7. And regarding the Excel and or we can say using all the MS Office documents, yeah, I would give it myself like around 8 or 9, because we have to work a lot in Excel and in PowerPoints and in MS Word. So yes, I'm good at that. And also I'm trying my hands on Power BI and Tableau. I'm just trying my hands. It is ongoing. So I have not yet presented any report in front of the leadership by using that, but I saw that it is very eye-catching and it is very effective to use it. So I'm trying to use it. So further, if it would help me in my current job or in my later role, which I would apply for.
Thank you so much, Ritika. Shelly, over to you.
Sure. Hi, Ritika. Ritika, so, you mentioned that you work with a leadership team. In your profile, there was also a recognition that you got from your leadership team. So what was that recognition? Actually, as I mentioned, that we worked on a very close basis, like we propose many deals and we get approval monthly basis. So yes, once, actually not once, I would say many times, like they recognize you, they give the good feedback for you that yes, you provided them good services and you helped them. Actually, once happened that one of my leadership asked me for the coffee connect. I wish I would be in UK so I could go for a coffee connect with him. So yes, like such kind of feedback and such type of responses I got. Okay, that's great. And also, if you had to mention 2 of your strengths and 2 of your weaknesses, what would it be? So yeah, for the strength, I would say that I believe that taking the first step is the hardest one. So I dare to take it. I dare to take the first step, and not only to take the first step, but being consistent is also important. So yeah, I dare to take the first step and I be consistent on it. And for the weakness, I would say that yeah, sometimes I be so much involved in my work that I forget to spare some time for my family or for myself. So I would like that in future I would like to be more to push myself to have a more work life balance, so that I don't feel guilty about it. Okay. So just a follow up on that, you said that you dare to take the first step. So what is it that you've taken, like something that was challenging for you and you took the first step for it? Actually, I lose around 17 kg last year. So it was really difficult for me, but I did it. Okay. That's it from my side. Ganeet, Sanchit, if you guys have any other questions.
No more questions. I think we can do the feedback now.
Sure.
Okay, Ritika, your thoughts first.
It was really nice. It was really nice interacting. Actually, due to such kind of activities, some nervousness goes away before the interview. So, and it is really nice to interact in such an environment. And I would really apologize. I'm not keeping well today. I have headache and seasonal cold, so I might sound a little weird. But yeah, it was a very interactive session.
Wonderful. So from our end, there's just one thing I would like to convey, rather not just to you, but to all the participants. See, any interview is basically a conversation. So when you are sitting here in front of an interview panel, I know sometimes it feels a little daunting and you feel a little old because there are so many people asking you questions and all. But then the good part is they're asking you about yourself, what you have done. And the person who is the subject matter expert on that thing is you. So you know what is right, you know what is wrong. So as far as non-technical questions are concerned, you don't have to worry at all. Like you are the final champion of what is right, what is wrong. And even in the technical questions, just let it be whatever you know you present, and what you don't know you don't present. So that part wise, I think that is the process I follow, thinking that every interview is just a get to know kind of a situation. See, most of the times the people who interview you would also be your reporting managers eventually. So either them or their bosses. So the idea is that you also get to know them and they get to know you. And the whole idea of an interview is to find out whether you work together well or not. So that is that's the side note. In your case, I think it was pretty good overall. Just a little more, I think, maybe practice a few more rounds and this would be good enough.
Thank you.
But great job. All the best.
Thank you. Thank you.
Anything from Ganita Shaleen?
Yeah, so I just have one feedback. Like in your strength, when I asked you what was the first step, I mean, good, you said like, you lost 17 kgs or you took that first, right? But if you would have given a professional example along with a personal example, I think the impact would be a lot more. So it's all right to give a personal example, but, always back it up as like, give a professional example and then back it up with a personal example. So that will have more kind of impact on the entire session. So that's it from my side.
Thank you.
I think I must say, acknowledge you, Ritika, that well done, because you said that you were ill, and in that illness as well, you were kind of answering us beautifully. Thank you so much. Just one small tip. I saw you using a little bit fillers, like in some of your this thing. If you want to overcome that, you can record yourself, and you can listen to it, and that is the way you can overcome about this particular fillers. So just practice doing that. So this will remove those fillers when you speak.
Sure, I will do that. Thanks, Kanu.
That's it from my side. Hashita, over to you.
Thank you, Ritika. All the best. We have with us the next interviewee, Sakshi Garg. I welcome Sakshi, and floor is all yours.
Hi, Sakshi.
Hi.
Sakshi, could you switch on your camera, please?
I think I am.
Okay, yeah, it's good. Hi, Sakshi. So why don't you tell us about yourself, including your current profile where you're working and your educational background?
Sure. I'm CA Sakshi Garg. I qualified my CA finals in November 2020. Currently, I'm working with EXLServices.com India Private Limited as a senior executive. My profile in EXL Services is I'm performing two roles. I'm doing SOX audit for one of US-based insurance company, and also I'm performing the financial operations. Like specifically, if I mention, then I'm performing SOX. I'm performing reconciliation activity and also providing consultancy regarding the open items while performing reconciliations. Before the Excel, I joined a CA firm for about 6 to 7 months. That's all from my side.
Okay. So, you're doing mix of a roles. So in your CA firm also, I believe that you've done taxation and now you're doing SOX audit. And so what is your inclination? Like, where do you see yourself going ahead, or what are you inclined? Because I think you're pursuing the diploma course in IFRS also. So what is your overall inclination?
Actually, my overall inclination is towards financing activity, like performing US accounting or somewhere in finance department of any global corporate world. And I have a less inclination towards audit and just like that activities. So that's why I'm pursuing IFRS because in today's world, everyone is going global. And with IFRS, I think I can achieve my desired career goal in a much effective way.
Okay. And do you have any expectations in terms of salary, or what kind of salary hike are you looking at?
Actually, presently I'm just focused on the career objective. Like I just want to pursue my career growth in the finance department, and currently I'm in SOX audit. So I just first of all I just want to switch from audit background to financial activity, and also I'm focusing on in building my skills. And at this point of time, the salary is not such an important part, or you can say that.
Okay. Also, you had mentioned about the entire audit process that you've done during your articleship in your previous organization. So can you give us some example, like the entire audit process, from the start to the conclusion of it, just like a brief idea about it?
Okay. First of all, when we are starting our audit, we get the financials of any firm or corporate for which we are auditing, and we do a risk assessment, or we just have a comparison from the last year. If just say if we can expect that we have an average growth of 5% or 10%, then we look at the figures where we have abnormal growth, or in case if we have abnormal losses, then we take that part as a material, and we give more emphasis while during audit, and we take less emphasis on the other parts which we see as normal as we saw usually. And then we take material aspect and perform detailed analysis on that, and form a audit report, and communicate to the clients where we find deficiencies, or if we need any explanation from client side for the course, then we get that to them from them.
Okay. That's it from my side. Guneet, Sanjit, over to you.
Hi, Sakshi.
Hi.
Sakshi, you mentioned that you're working on building your skills. Could you share a little more about that? What exactly are you doing right now to build your skills?
Yeah, exactly. Right now, I'm looking for some courses for SAP online courses, and I'm also pursuing, as I mentioned, IFRS diploma. And after this, I'm also planning to pursue US CPA to proceed my career globally.
So, are you willing to relocate?
Yeah, I'm okay to reallocate within India only.
Within India only. Okay.
Yeah.
Guneet?
Hi, Sakshi.
Hi.
Sakshi, you've mentioned in your profile that you are basically one of the activity was detection of fraud.
Yeah.
So could you just elaborate? Did you found any fraud? I really want to understand that. Did you find any fraud in the audit?
Actually, at initial stages, we are not able to identify frauds. I think it is it is a activity which you gain experience after a lot of years of working. Because we are good in finding the frauds, but I think the other party is also good in hiding the frauds also. So I think for this you need a lot of experience, and I see my seniors who are able to finding the fraud, but I'm sorry, I'm not able to get that at that point of a stage.
Okay, so when you're checking an account, because you've done auditing as well as as Sherry was also mentioning that you've done SOX audits, and so did you found any particular transaction which you felt that is suspicious or you were skeptical about?
Yeah, there are transactions, like there are the expenses which are more than usually happened, and there are advances which are not approved at all by the authorized authority. So these are the suspected areas which we communicate to our seniors, and they follow up on that, and we just take a report from a senior how to deal with our.
Okay. So do you think that's fraud because if the things have not been approved? Maybe for a long
Sometimes it may be fraud and sometimes maybe because of globalization and because of business needs or expansion, the expenses may be as needed, or sometimes it may be just a decorating item to drop down the profit or something. So we have to look into this to get back a conclusion.
And you've also mentioned in your profile that you've shared with us about the stock takes and stock verification. Any challenges that you would you have when you did a stock verification? Any issue that you encountered in that? And do you think we need to do this?
Yeah, actually, in our practice, it's not very feasible to send a female employee to a live site for stock verification. But as I communicated with my colleagues, there are many challenges because different industry or different firms has different types of stocks and they have a different method to maintain the stocks, and it's not possible on a real-time basis to just count and also because there's a difference between the reporting date and the actual date of verification. So there is challenges, we have lots of adjustments, and we have to check on not only the quantity as well, but we also like to mention the quality of the stock, whether it is appropriate or it is diminishing or whatever it is. So it is like I can say it is very from firm to firm person who is conducting it, so it's challenging.
Okay. I think that is it from my side. Shelly, over to you. Any questions? Yeah.
I'm done. Sanchit, do you have any questions or can we go to feedback?
One last question. So Sakshi, you mentioned that you've also done audit of nationalized banks and now you want to move towards a financial industry space or reporting side kind of a thing. So any interest areas that overlap during your audit experience?
I have actually I'm good with numbers, so I'm not feeling very connected with audit. In fact, in comparison to audit, I think I can also pursue in taxation, but I don't really good in audit. I don't think I can check someone.
Okay, I think that's it from my end also.
Sakshi, what did you feel about the entire thing?
Actually, I have goosebumps.
Okay.
I said no before, after confirming, मैंने मना कर दिया था कि नहीं मैं prepare नहीं हूँ, मुझे नहीं करना. But now I think it's not that difficult.
Well, that's a good thing. Okay, so this is a general feedback, not only for you, but for everyone. Everyone who's appearing for an online interview, make sure that your face is visible on screen.
Yeah.
Like, make sure that you're sitting in a lighting, in a space where your face is very much visible. So right now, if you see, I think all of us can look at a very black screen. So, that's not a very good sign when you're giving an online interview.
Okay.
So that's one general feedback. Of course, we couldn't understand about your goosebumps and nervousness because, the face wasn't that visible, but at least your voice didn't sound that you were that nervous. So that's a very good thing. That's it from my side. Guneet, Sanchit.
Sanchit, do you want to take first and then maybe
please go ahead.
Okay, thank you. Sakshi, my question on fraud, sorry to kind of bother you on that one. I think a little bit of reframing of your words when you're answering on the fraud question, because it's a very sensitive thing.
Okay.
So maybe anybody can grill, because if you're putting things in your CV, you have to be very sure what you're doing. If because it was mentioned detecting fraud. So then you have to be careful of drafting the CV and accordingly answering, because you said, you left it to the seniors and will look into it. Then I did counter question you in terms of asking you that, in the SOX audit, did you felt anything? Did you found anything or something like that? So you have to be carefully drafting your CVs, because that's the main thing where we, as in fact, Sanchit was also mentioning, and even Shelly mentioned that this is something which you are the subject matter expert. So you have to be careful on what you're writing, right?
Okay.
And again, on one of the question, one was physical verification. I think that also, just be careful when you're saying about that it was challenging being a female to go there. I think we've seen people going a lot of places, so we should not be that. But yes, of course, if it's a shady place or something like that, that's a different thing about the security. But I think let's be confident enough and move ahead.
Okay.
So a little bit of framing of words, basically. The rest, you were very good. I mean, you were taking correct paces and speaking well. And as Shelly mentioned, you were confident enough. We could not see the goosebumps as she mentioned. We could not see it. Maybe that's the lightning didn't let us see that. But very nice voice, very nice, soothing voice, very nice. Sanchit, over to you.
Thank you, Vineet. So in continuation with what Vineet mentioned, so idea is when you mention something in an interview, right? The interviewer is also interpreting it in form of how you would be as a employee later on. So if you say I had this challenge because I'm a female, perhaps implication might be that okay, she would not be very willing to relocate or go to different places. So even though your next profile may not involve as much travel, if it is required, then you might not be the preferred candidate because you might have certain inhibitions. So this could be a signal that could be coming out from what you mentioned. So you have to be a little careful in choosing the words which you're using here. And just to add on to what Shelly mentioned, like sit opposite the light, wherever the light is, just sit opposite to that. That kind of does the job. And you can use one of these backgrounds, virtual backgrounds, if you're not comfortable with the surroundings, so just blur the background. Either ways works. Otherwise,
Okay.
great, good confidence, and congratulations that you decided to come back despite withdrawing once. So this takes a lot of courage.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, all the best.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sakshi. We have one question for the interviewers. Any one of you could answer. What questions we can ask an interviewer if given a chance?
Okay, can I take this one? I mean, of course, others can also kind
go
of add on. So I think one question that I would ask if I'll give an interview would be, what would be my role? Could you please elaborate on my role a little bit? Little bit around the company and how will it fit towards my long-term goal? Something like what he's asking and kind of counter questioning at that point of time, but certainly which is revolving around my role. The questions should be around my role, just elaborating about what responsibilities will be there, and little bit on that. That is something which I will ask. Shelly, Sanchit, if you would like to add.
So adding on to that, for me, interviews have always been a two-way conversation. So if it's like first 20 minutes, I'm getting questions from the interviewer, then last 10 minutes, 15 minutes, I ask the questions regarding the company. So there is this typical question which comes in, where do you see yourself in 5 years? I think a counter question is, what are the kind of opportunities you see for me in next 5 years in the company? See, you can ask anything you want to ask as long as you're asking it in a very polite and respectful tone. So since this is a conversation, you can have a normal chat, but this is not a casual chat. So just be polite and be a little formal, but I don't think there is any limitation per se on what you can or cannot ask. You can talk about how the company culture is. You can ask all those kind of questions also. What is the next step after the current role? What are the kind of skills you may need to go to the next step? And in certain cases, I've actually tried to connect with my reporting managers. They were not the ones who were interviewing me, and get an idea of what the role would actually entail. Because at times, the person who may be interviewing you might not have a very in-depth idea of what you would be doing. So I think nothing per se is off limit as long as you ask it nicely.
I would just add on to both the things. So one thing I have always done whenever I've sat for an interview, at the end, I would always request my interviewer, if I can talk to someone within the organization doing a similar kind of role and get a brief idea about the role, because, probably someone who's going to be your colleague will be the best person to tell you. Of course, he's not going to be able to give you like the negatives of a role, but he'll be able to give you a better understanding of it. So, you can always request your interviewer if you can have like a minute or two word with any of your colleagues who are working in a similar role. So that's, I would probably ask that.
Thank you. Our next question is how to face panel.
Okay, so how to face the interviewing panel, right?
Yes.
That's okay. So you have to be confident, be yourself. That's the key. Confident, be yourself. If you're nervous, think about something which is very nice and you love that thing. Say, for example, I love to eat chocolates. So I always keep chocolate in my pocket if I have to give an interview or if I have to give a presentation, so that that anxiety which you have goes away. Or have a sip the water, I mean, before going in a room or taking an interview. So yeah, these are the few tips to kind of prepare yourself for an interview. Sanchit, Shelly, any things?
One thing you can do is just breathe, like take 3 deep breaths before you walk in. I think that really helps you and lets you lose your nervousness. So that is one thing. And always be confident in your head. Try being confident no matter how nervous you are. Let your body language speak the confidence, and rest will just fall into place. Because after 2 minutes or 3 minutes of the interview, if you're confident in the initial 2-3 minutes, the entire interview will sail through. Even if you don't know you may not know a few answers, but I think that confidence initially will just add on to the entire round. So that's it from my side. Sanchit.
So adding on, just a confession. So Vineet mentioned about the chocolate thing. I actually carry those small chocolates. I actually eat one before the interview. So like 15 minutes before the interview, and that kind of puts you in a good mood. Second could be that, listen to some good music and all. This is before the interview actually starts. So 10 minutes before the interview actually starts, you be in a formal position and try not to see things on your phone or think about anything much. And keep reminding yourself this is just a conversation, and you have been doing conversations all your life. So this is not like a very big deal. And if not this, then something else will work out. So don't like put too much pressure on it and think as if this is the only thing that you have to get through. So give it properly, but then don't make it like everything and get overwhelmed with that. Ashita, you're on mute.
Sorry. Thank you, everyone. Our next question is how to explain the interviewer about resuming after the maternity break.
How to explain, right?
Yeah, how to explain about the interviewer about resuming after the maternity break.
I mean, you just have to tell them that I was on maternity break. Sorry, I did not get the question. It's just that you have to let the person know, because the interviewer will definitely ask you about the break that is there in your profile. Say, for example, you have a 9-month or a 10-month or 11-month gap. So he will just certainly ask you, and accordingly you have to and you have to say the fact, which is the fact that I was on a maternity break, and that is it. I think that is simple, and people will respect you for that. What I feel is. Sanchit, Shelly, do you have any other this thing? Yeah, as I think the earlier speaker also mentioned about these sabbaticals and breaks. I think you have to be respectful, and that is what is the culture these days are. You respect. Sanchit, Shelly, do you want to add something?
I think I'm on board. So this is
I'm
exactly
also on board. I mean, you don't have to bluff about it. You just have to state the facts, and that's about it.
Thank you. Our next question is, if we are not aware of any technical questions, answers, how we need to respond.
Okay, so Ashita, I would just like to go first. Sorry, but Adam, and definitely others can add. So I think here, if you don't know the question, you cannot bluff. I think you have to say that, sorry, I'm not aware of it. And something like that. You have to kind of say that you're not aware. Unless and until you're doubly sure that you can answer it. I feel it's good to be honest. Sometimes there are questions which you're not aware of, which is perfectly fine to kind of let them know that I'm not aware of it, so that they can ask some other question which you're confident about. So I think that will give you more confidence rather than attempting a question which is incorrectly, what I feel is.
Also, you can show your interest. So it's okay to own it up that you don't know the question, but you can always say that right now I don't know the question, but show your inclination that you will go back and learn about it or try to know about it. So that gives a positive impact. Sanchit.
Just to add on something which I do in these kind of scenarios is I say that, okay, this is something which I don't know, but in and around this thing, this is the broader idea that I have. If you could just help me understand this better. So that's typically what has worked for me so far. But yeah, since it's a technical question, bluffing is definitely not the way. And when I mentioned you are the subject matter expert, that's only when it's concerning you. For technical things, please don't try that.
Thank you. Now, this is a question which many has to ask. How do I explain the question, tell me something about yourself?
Okay, I'll take this one first. All right. So see, this is actually the perfect opportunity for you to define why you are the ideal candidate for this particular role. So, this is the kind of question where you tell a story of why and what qualities you have, what experiences you have, and what puts you in a unique position to be the perfect employee that the interviewer or the company is looking for. So you start with, okay, hey, I did this degrees or this roles. And in these roles, I learned these skills, which I think I would be able to apply here in this way. So that's the broader outline. So you talk about the job description that is to come in a future sense, and you talk about your existing job roles in terms of these experiences, relating it with the future roles. So for example, I have already worked on SAP, and I think that would, I worked on SAP in this roles, and I think that would be really helpful for me in my profile here. So those are the kind of things I usually cover in this. Vineet,
I think you've answered it pretty well, Sanchit. That's what it's an opportunity for you to kind of explain yourself. And the way you explain it has to be crisp and to the point so that the person can ask you questions, as I mentioned earlier also. It is the way it is on, I know, up to you how you take the interview. So you have to navigate the interviewer towards what you want to say. And that 2-3 minutes is the beginning and the start of the entire interview. And that's the first impression. So you have to practice those things and make sure that you are good in that.
I think Gunita and Sanjit have mostly covered everything. Just like a small observation here, a lot of times when we ask people, tell about yourself, they start talking so much about their role and not their self. So let your role be a second follow-up question in an interview. Let's speak about yourself. Of course, you have to brief about your role and whatever you've done, but make it very brief and very crisp so that can be a follow-up question in your next. Like, don't talk about your role when you're asked to talk about yourself. So that's the only observation from my side.
Just a small addition to this. So perhaps one way I used to practice something like this is if you share with your friend that this is the role I'm applying for, and then you can say why I think this is a good role and what kind of makes me a good candidate and all. If you talk about those things, this conversation with your friend kind of helps you get up with points on why this role and how this role and those kind of things. So that conversation with your friends, a friendly conversation kind of, because you don't have the pressure at that point. So it helps you prepare for this kind of a question.
Okay, thank you. Moving to the last question. I know the answer, but somehow I feel nervous and answers get collapsed either out of fear and communication. How do I deal with this?
Okay, Gunit, go ahead.
Okay, I think there was a movie when that was I forgot the name, but it was Vidya Balan who mentioned entertainment. I think here practice, and practice. So make sure that you practice because that will give you confidence. So definitely, whatever is your thought process, it will come into the frame of the mind, and and it will flow from your mouth the way you want to speak. So just make sure that you have those set of questions. Like this was just, we took 3 interviews. So in fact, if you Google it also, you will have set of questions which are like very common questions, like why do you want to leave the job, why do you want to, these are very common questions. And you can practice those questions and speak in front of the mirror. And again, practice, and practice. That will make you perfect. That's it for me. Shelly or Sanchit?
So Gunit very rightly said that, you need to keep practicing. Okay, but like a small trick, Right now, probably you don't have so much time to practice because you're due for your interviews on Monday. What you can do is, if you have a physical interview and if there's a glass of water, just like, try sipping. If you're very nervous, just say that, can I just, take a sip of water, sip that water, let your mind cool down, like for a minute, think through the process and then speak. So that's just like a small thing. Nothing can beat practice, but since you guys are very close to the interview round, this is like just a small trick that you guys can use.
Just one more small trick I use as a speaker is sometimes I rephrase the question and ask the question again. So there is not much thinking involved with that. So while I'm saying that and the interviewer is confirming that, yes, this is the question, that is the time I get to collect myself. But neither this nor the trick that Shaili mentioned can be used again and again. So you can do it once, maybe twice, but you cannot just do it on every question. So please don't do that. It becomes very apparent otherwise. So that's the thing. And more importantly, keep reminding yourself that this is one of the conversations that you're having. And the other person was also in your position at some point of time. So this is one example I give sometimes when in my interview preparations and all, that, there was this old TV series, Saas Bhi Kabhi Bahu Thi. Same thing, the interviewer was also the interviewee at some point of time. So they know what you're going through. They understand that. At the same time, they have certain expectations from you. So don't worry much. Just go with the flow. Just give whatever answer comes to your head. So yeah.
Thank you, Shaili, Sanjit, Kunit. That was quite in detail. Start by doing what's necessary, then do what's possible, and suddenly you're doing the impossible. So for those of us for whom interview was impossible, is now possible due to our experienced interviewers. The way our interviewers took us through the entire process is commendable. Thank you from the bottom of our heart for sparing your valuable time for our participants. Every day holds the possibility of a miracle. So keep hoping for the best and keep shining. And thank you. Thank you so much for being such a wonderful audience. Once again, a hearty gratitude for making this event memorable. We have been fortunate enough to be backed by a team of very motivated and dedicated team to make this event a rocking success. My sincere thanks to secretariats and the entire team, our tech team, for all the technical arrangements. Keep learning, keep smiling. On this note, ICA Ashita Shah sign off for the day, wishing all the beautiful ladies all the very luck for the interview ahead. Thank you.